Good night, Barbados. Good night, Caribbean. Good night, the world. And welcome to the Marcia Week Show. I'm coming to you live from Barbados, beautiful Barbados, the most easterly Caribbean island. That's where we live in paradise. And tonight we are excited about this particular show. Tonight we have two guests from Martinique, and they're going to be talking about the protests in Martinique and, giving us some understanding of exactly what is happening there in Martinique. Why are we having the protests in Martinique? Then we're going to look at Bermuda and see how Bermuda has solved their water woes. Bermuda, an island in the Caribbean, they've experienced water issues. In fact, it is said that they hardly have any rivers. Just a few, just really, really few small rivers, but they have solved their water problems. And we touched on that sometime earlier on this show, but we're going to look at that a bit more tonight, okay? Then we're going to go back and look at Vibes Cartel and all the dance hall music that's coming out of Jamaica and look to see how it's affecting the young people in Jamaica. How is it affecting the society in Jamaica? And the fact that we're getting ready to bring Vibes Cartel to Barbados. The big question is that how is that going to affect our society with all that we're going through at this particular moment with an upsurge in just violence in the schools and violence on the streets, the increasing gangs. How is that going to affect us here in Barbados? So we're gonna definitely take a look at that, and we're looking also at independence celebrations and the origins of that. When did it get started? Why was it started? Why did we start up independence celebrations? Because as you notice, over the last 3 4 years, that's one of the things we notice with our government, that it seems to us that they're not wanting to celebrate that independence period anymore. We're to just skip and go right to republic. And so we are looking at that tonight to see whether or not are we going to be skipping over independence and looking at what was the origin behind all of that. And we want to touch on, just really, really, really quickly, we're going to touch on the whole issue of police brutality, balancing that off with good policing, strong policing, because we need strong policing and we need to support the police. But we just want to look at that a bit tonight. So can you believe it? We have a very, 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 very packed program. And I forgot to say, we're just going to touch a little bit on the whole town civic center, that there is this. It seems as though this debate is going to come up in Parliament whether they are going to be moving that, or they're going to put that somewhere else and doing some replacement. And we want to know with what and why. I think that is very, very important to us. Well, let me just go right in and just welcome everybody. Let me just spend the next minute or so and putting as many welcomes as I can and hellos. Vernon Garnes, good night, CG. How are you? To the Jilts. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Joy and Faith, Bajan boy. How are you? Wendy Ford Griffith. Marcia. Oh, wonderful, Marcia. I wonder if that's a Marcia I know from St. Philip. Jacqueline, how are you? FX Trading BB, Marcia Miller. Marcia is making sure I know that's not the same Marcia. This is not Marcia Miller. Mildred Ben, how are you? Monica Inns, how are you? Patrick Designs, how are you? Cecilia Miller, wonderful. Sir Alfred Benjamin. Sir Alfred Benjamin, I'm going to ask you, and all of you who are in the diaspora, if you live in the US, you're in the diaspora, I need you to give me a call. I have something to announce to you, but not tonight. Not tonight. So New York, Connecticut, Maryland, Delaware, Washington, any of those states, Philadelphia, give me a call. I think the only one that's all the way out there is California. And we might not be able to get California to come over. But listen, I'm not going to say anything too much about it right now. But Alfred, give me a call now. Write down the number 246-236-7000. Okay? That's 246-236-7000. If you're in the diaspora, if you're in the US and you're in the diaspora, you need to reach out to me. It's so important. And if you are in London, are you in London? Are you in the UK? Because even though you might be outside of London, you can travel. I need you to call me as well, right? I'm going to be in Brixton in London on the 21st of October with a roadside parliament. So I tell you, that's what's going to be in Brixton in London, and something is brewing for the US. So I need you to call me. I need you to call me. Yes. Owen Hines, wonderful. And Pauline Maynard. Hi, Pauline. How are you? How are you? You're going to be one of the first to know what's happening. Rhonda Paris, good evening. Beverly Prescott, good evening. They love pineapple peanut. I can't call that name. Born again. Nigel Newton, good night. Rollinston, good night. Aria, yes, I don't know how to pronounce that one. Good night. And if you're watching us for the first time from Martinique, let me say welcome, 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 welcome to the Marcia Week Show, coming to you live from Barbados. Okay. Well, we're going right now to the national anthem of Barbados, and this is what we do every night. If you're watching, when the next song that you hear, it's our anthem. It's right here on the Marcia Week Show. We start the Marcia Week Show with the national anthem, and on this particular show, we educate, we mobilize, we agitate, right? We motivate Africa and the African diaspora. All right, so let's start off with our national anthem. yes, Barbados, Barbados. Tonight, we are awakening the power of the people. Awakening the power of the people right here on the Marcia Week Show. And, we talk a lot about the people power, people having the power. And sometimes, we say things, but we don't really break it down. But how do we awaken that power that is within the people? Folks, let's have a little chat. Let's have a little chat tonight for about 5 minutes. We're talking about how do we awaken the power in the people? How is that done? How is the power in the people awakened? Do you really think we're still asleep? Do you think that we are awake in Barbados? Would you say that the people are awake? And if the people are not awake, how do we awaken the power that's in the people? If the people are the ones with the power, how do we awaken the power that's in the people? Anybody? We having class, so well, give me 5 minutes. Somebody said, keep pushing people and educating people. So it means that, when you come on, we're going to like and we're going to share. We're going to subscribe. So if we haven't liked the show yet, I'm going to ask you to like it. And we're going to share, all right? Share in your WhatsApp groups. Important, okay? Because there's going to be a lot of truths that's going to be shared here tonight. And so it's going to be important that you share, you like the link. Yes, so educating is important. Educate the people. So we're being told here, we educate the people about who they really are, that they're the real government. Do you all believe you're the real government? It's the people. The people are the real government. We are the government, the 280,000 of us. We are the real government. And we talked about that, the power that the people has, which is why they would come to us every 4 or 5 years asking us to vote for them. They spend millions of dollars trying to get us to vote for them. Do you see how powerful we are? But how do we awaken that power? Break away from the tradition. Break away from the tradition, correct. Break away from the teaching or the kind of education that tells us that we are weak. That it's the 29 of them or the 30 of them in parliament that has all the power. That is the government that has all the power. There is that teaching and that understanding that we believe for years. That's the kind of tradition that Sandra is talking about. That's one of them, right, Sandra? We break away from that wrong thinking that the government holds the power. The people hold the power. They know it. But how are we going? We're going to break away from tradition. The people are the government. How do we awaken the people to understand that? How do we awaken the people from stop looking up with hands out and stop looking up like we're begging and we want change. We want change when we're supposed to be the change. How do we do that? How do we do that? How do we begin to do that? I want to propose to you tonight 2 things because we don't have enough time tonight, but I want to propose to you 2 things. The first way to awaken the power that you have inside of you is to decide that you are going to empower somebody else. Now, that might sound a little strange. Have you ever heard someone say, psychiatrists and sociologists and all those people who, deal with the mind and or emotions, and they say, if you feel depressed, get up and do something for somebody else. And I want to propose to you tonight that if you feel that you're not powerful, or you can't really feel the power, you don't really believe that you have that power, get up and start doing something for someone who is not in a position to do that particular thing for themselves. Get up and empower somebody who feels disempowered, right? To awaken that power inside of yourself, decide that you are going to empower someone who does not feel empowered. Visit a homeless shelter. There is a homeless at there's a church that is right there at Queen's Park, Pastor Paul Leacock's church, good friend of mine, and they have a homeless feeding program. They're volunteer there. Do something. Come out of yourself. Find something to do. Go around the community. Do you have, you have all the trees and the shrubs growing out in the road, and it seems that the government isn't doing anything? Get some of your neighbors together and decide to cut it. Yeah, cut that vegetation. Do something. Mentor a child. I tell you that, I mean, Dave probably going to say I shouldn't keep talking about this, but it's so powerful to hear him, and it's encouraging. On a Sunday, 3 o'clock on Zoom, he has young men that he's mentoring on Zoom. 3 o'clock on Sundays. And I was over in the kitchen. Usually I'm in the kitchen at that time overhearing. And the sessions are so powerful as he talks to them about themselves and who they are. Find something to do that empowers someone else. And you will find that that power inside of you begins to awaken. Right? Awaken. And so what that gives you is that sense of not looking up to government all the time for government to do something for you. And the second thing I want to talk to you about is shine. I said to you that when you if you said the power is gone, it means that the electricity is gone, right? You can't turn on the light in your house. It's darkness. So when the power is out, what happens? Darkness. Darkness. Right? What lawlessness happens? Because when the light comes on, what happens? When you turn on the light and you put it in the corner and there are cockroaches, they're going to run. They don't like the light. Evil doesn't like the light. Corruption doesn't like the light. Mismanagement doesn't like the light. So if we have darkness happening in the country, it's that our lights are off. The power switch inside of us is off. We have not yet come into our true power. We are not yet awakened. Once we are awakened, we are going to shine the light on corruption. We're going to shine the light on mismanagement. We're going to shine the light on injustice. So the question to us tonight, are we awakened? Is the power inside of us awakened? Barbadians, Caribbean people who are watching, wherever you're watching from, we are the government, we are the people, we are the power. But we will not be able to shine if there's no awakening happening. And I want to say to us that once that awakening starts to happen, shine. Do not turn down the light on your power. Don't dim down for no politician. Don't dim down your lights for anybody. Shine. Wherever you're placed, you shine. You hear me? Don't let anybody say, we try to play like we're played small. No, you turn on the light. Boom. Here's a light. Here's a power. The power is going to hit you. And you shine at work. You shine, wherever you go in the supermarket. You shine. You let that power, that sense of knowing who you are, and you having that sense of purpose, and knowing that you have inside of you the power to change your situation. That's why I always say to us Barbadians that we are enough. We are enough. We have what it takes to change this nation. We don't need to be looking up like this at the government. We're going to hold them accountable because the light has turned on inside of us. We know who we are. Yeah? We have a responsibility to shine. It's a responsibility that we have to the world to shine. Every single one of us. We have the responsibility. It's a responsibility as Barbadians. Did you hear what the anthem says? We are craftsmen of our fate. Our anthem tells us that. We have the responsibility to shine. Plug in, Barbados. Turn on that power and shine, and shine, and shine. Let nobody dim your light. Open your mouth and speak out. Write your letters to the members of parliament. You have a right to do that. Let nobody say you're making too much noise. Enough of you now. Absolutely not. You don't light a candle and put it underneath the table. You put it on the stand for it to shine and for the whole world to see. And when you begin to shine, you will empower others to shine. Don't dim your light in the workplace. You know what's going on. You've been watching the shows. You know what's going on. You've been hearing Mr. Franklin. You've been hearing Maxine McLean. You've been hearing Dr. Ferdinand Nichols. You've been hearing Rose Corbin. You've been hearing GLYNE Murray. You've been doing your own research. You've been hearing Kemar Stewart. Come on. Yes? And when Mr. Thorne is in the parliament debating, put it on, turn it on and watch it. I heard somebody said, you know, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm learning so much from Mr. Thorne. You turn on that parliament and you watch Mr. Thorne because he's educating us. He's not just speaking to the people, to that 29 in there. He's speaking to the populace. He's speaking to Barbados. Anytime parliament is on, you turn it on, and empower yourself. Get the knowledge. The knowledge empowers you, and you just sit there and you shine. You shine at work, and they say, "Oh, she believes she knows everything." They think they know everything. They know everything. They think they know how to run the country. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. As a collective, I might not have all the answers, but Mr. Murray, who is coming on a little in a few minutes, he has some of it, and you have some of it. Nigel has some, Teroni has some, and as a collective, our power is strong. You know, the collective power, yeah. And we are not those kinds of Barbadians who just sit down and complain. We understand the power that we hold. We understand it. We are flipping the education that we have received. The education we have received tells us that the government is here and we are here. That's the education that we receive. But all of that is being flipped. We understand that they are accountable. This is us. We've got the power. They are accountable to us. Because every 4 to 5 years, they come to us and they ask us. It's us that they ask. They beg us and pay us. They pay for the vote because we are that important to them. Don't you ever forget it. Don't you ever dim your light. Don't you dim your light for any politician. Don't you act like you don't know because you're around a politician and putting your head down and you hear the PM and you start to shudder. Oh, you're so afraid of the PM. Hello, where's the power? Where's the power? Folks, go ahead and share as we awaken the power in the people. And on that note, I just want to commend the people of St. Lucie. Come on, can we just give them a hand? Give the people of St. Lucie a hand. That power inside the people of St. Lucie is being awakened. And on the 27th of October, the people of St. Lucie, along with you, the loyal opposition, they are staging a motorcade as they go through all of St. Lucie and educate the people on the dangers of the kind of water that they are receiving. We were just on here with John Knox, and he's saying that we have to be careful of the water. Yeah, And so the people of St. Lucie, they are awakening to their power, and they're saying clean water is our basic right. And we are tired of the promises, government, regardless of which one it is, because they've all made promises. Clean water, St. Lucie is asserting clean water is our basic right. And that's the motorcade. And there it's going to be October 27th, and it's 2 o'clock. Everybody put up two fingers, not three. Not three, because you know it gets dark at a certain time and we want to be finished before it's dark. 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock is when we are assembling. And where are we starting at? The St. Lucie Parish Church car park. And what we're saying to you and everybody, because we're going to come down in our thousands in the cars, okay? We're going to get in our vehicles. And as Barbadians, we are taking this situation in our hand. We're taking responsibility and we're shining our light upon St. Lucie. Come on, people. Every time you turn on your water and you're getting clean, clear water out of your tap, you must remember St. Lucie. I want you to mark this date down on your calendar. Everybody, put it in your phone. October 27th. Don't come up with an excuse, please. Cook early. Shop early from Saturday. Start to season up your meats and so on for your Sunday dinner on the Sunday, your Sunday lunch, and eat early. Pack the car with the children. You can even bring your food along. Bring your food along. Drive and make that sacrifice to St. Lucie and start from now. Buy a case of water, no? We can't go down there talking about water and we don't walk with something. We don't. That's not how we are as Barbadians. Huh? We're accessing our power, you know, by service. We're accessing the power within. Listen, buy a bottle, buy a crate of of water. Yeah, it's not what you call it, a crate, a case of water. Buy a case of water, put it in. If you're a church, you're a pastor, and you're listening to me, do it as a drive in your church. It's simple. Simple. On Sunday, tell the people of the church, tell the members, bring a case of water, please. Bring a case of water as part of your offering. Part of your offering to the church. Bring a case of water to church. Can we have some churches doing some drives? Of course, we know that this started with the young Dems, with that wonderful young lady, Shaquani Hunt. And they are doing their job, believe me. The young Dems, they're going there again. That they did a fabulous job, over 150 cases of water and another 150-gallon bottles of water. I mean, that was amazing that they were able to do over this short period of time. And I'm saying to us, we have about what? We have about 2 weeks. It's the 17th. It's the 27th. Today is the 13th. Okay? Start. So churches, you can start. What about your workplace? Can you ask your boss that you can ask for donations of water, cases of water, put it up in your car? Come on, man. In your sphere, begin to shine. Shine. Let's shine the light on St. Lucie. Let's go down to St. Lucie with our collective power. Do you understand how magnetic and electric that is going to be when we are all turned on? All the power is on and we're shining in St. Lucie. Listen, power to power, power to power. And yes, Steve Moore, we understand what the water problem is to get people. Listen, we understand that the government is trying to give us a six or a 9. We understand what they're trying to do, but we are taking responsibility. Complaining is not the only thing to do. Yes, you're going to complain because you're holding them accountable, but then we're going to act. And that's why Mr. Alvin Toppin, I don't know if Dave can put that real quick as Mr. Murray comes. There is not a, what do you call it now, a petition. Thank you. There is a petition by Mr. Alvin Toppin, who grew up in St. Lucie. He doesn't live there at this time, but there is you can sign that petition. It's really going up in numbers. We need to push that in thousands. Why isn't that petition in thousands? Awaken the power inside of you. We are ready. Barbados, are we ready? We are ready. We are ready now for Mr. Glyne Murray. Good night, Mr. Murray.
Good night, Marcia. How are you?
Oh, I am great. I am shining. My power is exuding. I'm excited.
You sound in good form.
Thank
I,
you. Thank you.
I'd like to just say that it's amazing how uh, I don't believe in coincidences, which is my mantra. Exactly what I hope you appreciate my colors tonight. I'm wearing my
Yes.
independence colors, and
Ah.
it's it's black, gold, and blue, not
Uh-huh.
yellow, black, gold, and blue. So I thought I'd
Let's
come
look at it
properly
more
dressed.
carefully. Ah, yes.
Thank you very much. But
Yes, sir.
it's what your life is about: stimulus and response.
Yes.
That's what life is about: stimulus, response, basically, and reward and punishment. And what you're doing, you're stimulating the people of Barbados about the plight of the people in St. Lucie. And it's interesting how this is coming at the time on the 27th of October,
Yes.
which coincides with my theme tonight, Community Independence Celebration, which starts on the 1st of November. And the whole essence of community independence celebration is about teaching people a sense of obligation to, to be patriotic every day of your life,
Mm.
every single day, not periodically at Independence Time or seasonally. But and if I might look at the definition of patriotism, patriotism is defined as devotion to one's country as a whole,
Mm.
including all the people who live in it. Devotion to one's country as a whole, including all the people who live in it. And you are taking Barbados now to support by this motorcade and also by these programs the plight of the people in St. Lucie. And you're being patriotic, you are teaching people that patriotism also is demonstrated like, on these activities. Give and take, the support, the love and the care and the sharing, and not just as a parade. And I thought given all that's happened in society too, our community independence celebrations is in its 29th year. It will be 30 years next next year, starting in 1995. And I thought I'd give you the background and give you some history of it. Again, starting with stimulus and response. Now, the Barbados Labour Party got into government in 1994, September 1994, a couple of months off of Independence Day in November. So we would have inherited the traditional program that went from 1966 to 1994, where there was a church service, a military parade, and a reception at the Prime Minister's official residence. Those were the three standard events that were supposed to represent and signify Barbados' independence for the people. And after our first experience in November 1994, I met early with Prime Minister Arthur, who said that I had been in charge of coordinating and supervising the whole these major activities. He said everything went smoothly, but he said it did not engage the people of Barbados enough. That it was too centered around St. Michael, too official, and there was not enough happening to engage the public of Barbados, the community of Barbados. And he was not happy, and he wanted something different. And he tasked me with the responsibility of coming up with a program that would do just that. Involve the people, the community, people at the community level to demonstrate their patriotism at the community level, not just going to a reception or church service or parade. All us onlookers, he wanted participation. So, having been taught early that form follows function, I decided well, the function would be to stimulate the people at community level about independence. All right? And the form will be how do I go about that? And we set about, I said, I looked at Barbados. I said to myself, Barbados has 11 parishes, and we have 12 months of the year. Why can't, if they involve the community, all of Barbados as a community, I decided it would be interesting, it would be useful. I think it could work if we were to assign a parish to each month. So you have 11 months, 11 parishes, leaving November, the month for independence free. So each parish had a month, right? St. Lucie, June, St. Peter, April. And what you do is celebrate, you have each parish noted for that month. Each parish will give a color that identified the parish, and you stimulate parish pride.
Okay.
Everybody's basically pride of the neighborhood and the parish in which they live. And you start doing it from the community level, from the ground up. And and we also celebrate where we quite have encouraged the public. We promoted having to appoint, elect parish independence committees. Government just arranged the program for the election. Each parish had personal money, so the date, these facilitate the location where they among themselves select who the committee, what we call a parish independence committee, PIC, which will be responsible for coordinating all the activities for each parish for each month. And so we had 12 parish independence committees, no, 11 parish independence committees with November being free. And there was no political involvement at all
Mm-hmm.
because I made sure that, as a matter of fact, St. Peter, the parish of the prime minister whose drive it was to have such a program, they only won the title of Outstanding Parish of the Year in 2008 after the government change. 2008. So there was
Mm.
no favorite. I never got involved. We didn't care who. Once the people elected and chose the people among themselves, and it worked very very well. And we had these programs, and we started having each like I said, and we started a program, and then we said, now how do we activate? Now each parish in Barbados is different. To put with the geography, each one has some of the same features, but no two parishes in Barbados are
Right.
is alike. Right. Some even have different accents, as you would know. I'm sure you know, but know the people in St. Philip speak differently. But some of them, from the people and the people in St. Lucie. Like, I remember one of my favorite sayings to represent St. Philip was there used to be a Barbadian said, "Bajak, bajak, bajak this, bajak that." And St. Lucie, what they found unique about St. Lucie, they wouldn't say normally, they said normally. But each parish
Ah,
has its own unique features, its geography, its history, its schools, its people, the different while we share the same common values and national personality. Each one had its own way of doing things and saying things, its own behaviors, slightly different community values. So we thought, I said, it'd be useful if we can harness all of that creativity, all that uniqueness, and put it on show that will represent the collective independence of Barbados at the community level. And then we decided that, so we started in 95 with two, a male and female representative of each parish, along the convention, like it's almost like a fashion show, a beauty show. But
mm-hmm.
after 1997, after 97, um, it was decided that after 1996, we decided that that couldn't work. People were unhappy. They think it would bring out the quality of the park. They wanted more out of the representative park than just parade on the stage and nice outfit and you get
Mm-hmm.
award. They want to develop the personalities, let people show off their skills, develop their talents. So it came from a parish representative then, and we changed the name to parish ambassadors.
Ah.
That's how we got it in 1997. And we gave
Mm-hmm.
them more scope. We had each parish independence committee used to be given a small sum of money to start up the program, but then they were responsible for raising their own funds. You were being independent and self-sufficient. You weren't dependent on central government. And these
Yes.
funds that we were given to the parish independence committee were all overseen by the civil service. And we never had. And there was a Mr. Walcott who was a giant of an accountant, a very strict man. We never had, in my time, up until 2002, there was never any hint of any scandal, misappropriation of fund. It was very well done. And therefore, people took great pride in their communities. So we had this independence in 1995, then from 1997 until last year. And the parish ambassadors would compete on a number of different levels. First of all, we spent time developing the parish independence committee. If you were going to put on a function, we got the Ministry of Foreign Affairs come and teach them protocols. So that if they were having an event, even at the parochial level, they had to do it to a certain standard to represent the nation. So we developed those basic skills and protocols and standards at the community level. The parish ambassadors were chosen among the people, had to have certain character, had to prove themselves to be worthy of the title of parish ambassadors. And I'm saying that in the 29 years that this program has been going, you had two parish ambassadors per parish, like 22 per year for 29 years. I think that turned out to about 638 young people who would have passed through that program.
Wow.
And I am proud to say that out of that, I have never heard of any one of them yet getting in trouble with the law because, again, stimulus and response. You stimulated the best in them and gave them an opportunity to represent their parish. They would go to churches, to schools, right up. So and some of them have gone on. More, all of them, as far as I remember, in various ways, have gone to do very well in their chosen.
Well, actually, Mr. Murray is saying it's so true that Sharon Innes is saying I was on the St. Peter 1-1, so she's agreeing with you.
Yeah, and they've done well. A number of people who've gone on the the National Service Award, including probably one of the most notable ones would have been who would have been a parish ambassador would be Minister Corey Lane. He also came through that program. So it has achieved so far a tremendous amount of good, and it's something of which I think that Barbados can be justifiably proud.
Hmm.
But I think that right now, you would have seen the parish ambassador. I saw you very thank showed up the program, what they represent, the parish of the parish spirit of the nation show. But there was not only the parish of the nation show. We used to have a program where I decided you had to light up the city. Like there's something about lights that psychology does something for the human spirit and soul.
Yes.
Right. So I said that each parish has a government building, and you can't have community independence only in Bridgetown. So
Mm.
we lit the parliament buildings and other government buildings in Bridgetown. Um, we also, but we have each the library or post of any government building in each parish had to have independence like that. So that was nationally there was the demonstration of this community spirit and whatnot. And then it's,
Mr. Murray, just a pause there. I want to ask those of you who are watching if you can remember this, because Mr. Murray is speaking, and I remember when I just came here how that felt to come into something like that. It felt there's such a community spirit, which we're not seeing a lot of that now. But anybody remembered how that was with the lighting up of each parish and the community spirit and the spirit of the nation show. How many of you remember? If you remember that, give a thumbs up and write a memory in the chat. Go ahead, Mr. Murray. I love it.
so we I said we eliminated the government buildings, but then I said almost each parish had a roundabout. So he said, why don't we light up the roundabout and take the lights? And I remember it very well because I invited the head of the government electrical engineering department at that time to advise me about the technical requirements of this light. And he said, no, it can't work. You have to dig up the road and the amps and the wamps and all kind of technical jargon. But my thinking, I don't fall for the jargon. I fall for the logic. So but the lights are already in the roundabout. Why can't we? Oh, it's a different wattage. It'll be complicated. I said, all right. Next week, I invited him to a meeting with Mr. Everson Alcott from Alcott's Electrical. And I put my proposal to Mr. Alcott. Mr. Alcott said, that's very simple. The lights are already
Yeah.
there. It's low. And that is how if I had fallen for the technical jargon, we have lost that opportunity, but it did not make sense to me. That is how we began. That's how we illuminated the roundabout. And then we had a competition. And then we would have, I remember there were children I said we can't just have the people who can go to light and ceremony at one in Bridgetown, but we would organize tours for the children in the children's home to take a tour to see the lighted, like it became a spectacle all over Barbados. People go to see the lights, and there was a competition who was the best dressed, illuminated, roundabout, etc. So we'd get gifts and snacks and treats for the children of the homes. And so it became a very event. We'd also organize where people go into the district hospital for independence and plait the hair of the to do the manicures of the people and the elderly there, cut their hair, take toiletries for them, sing and perform. So it was an all embracing effort. So much so that we got requests from people to, first of all, look, I said if the Spirit of Nation show was meant to be a demonstration of all of its finest about Barbados, both in its parochial representatives in the parish ambassadors, also because of talents and skills. So I said, if you are going to everyone demonstrate Barbados, all the talent at that show has to be Barbadian.
Yes.
So we would have a competition among the parishes, and we select a judge of the place the best to go to perform. And it amazed me when, so at that time, none of the John Kings or the Gabbies plasterby could perform. It had to come out of the community, and you had some very interesting acts. You had people blowing combs, playing a saw, violin bow,
Uh-huh.
musical cans and bottles. So there was a lot of old Bajan creativity that came to the fore. In addition, that program produced uh, Tara Holt, who was a well-known performer, Ramesses Brown.
Mm-hmm.
So I know of a lot of interesting of fabulous talent in the society. I understand thereafter, after I left in 22, 2022 was the last one I was in charge of. It defeated purpose. You saw people come with the big brand names. And we did not need them because if my granddaughter is going to be performing at the Garfield Service and she could be singing a recitation, or you have to go and the rest of the family support her. It was
Yeah.
so well patronized that we have to shut the door and turn back persons because they were coming to see their representatives, their people, their relatives, their friends, people they know performing and representing their parish, the national level. And there was a lot of friendly rivalry on the night of the parish of the community event of the prayer show. Each parish teasing and cheering. It used to be very spectacular. Not only that, but we got requests from people in London and New York to appear on the show. And once they sense a tape of the performance, we incorporate the show. Then people start coming down, independents, be part of the show.
Yes.
Apart from that, I got phone calls, correspondence, and visits from people from Jamaica, Canada, and the States who wanted to see if they could want to know how we did it. Jamaica particularly was interesting because Jamaica said that they had a problem separating their Independence Day is the 6th of August.
Yes.
And they celebrated emancipation on the 1st. And there was a clash. They were both lost. They came to see how we do it and how they can separate and differentiate between the two. So each cadet get its own due regard. And the people in Canada want to see whether they could transpose um, parish independence to kind of provincial ambassador. So it really generated a lot of. Not only that, I found out after that the lighting on the roundabout had also been copied, afterward copied by some of neighboring islands, Grenada and Antigua, etc. So it shows how that program in 29 years was able to stimulate the people's interest. Again, I get the response that was necessary. So, and I'm very proud of it. Of all the things that I've done, it's one of the best. There are not many. The truth is, there are not many people who in politics who live to see something that they've done last 29, 30 years, right? And it's not because of me. We had tremendous participation from the parishes.
Yes.
We had tremendous from the private sector. What I did, I said if it's community independence, it has to involve the community. The lighting ceremony, which started on the 1st of November, I would invite schools from around Bridgetown. I'd invite to participate. I'd invite people from the Indian community, the Chinese community, the whites of Barbados, and their children were coming to perform on the national stage, and they were very proud of it. And they would tell me they're glad to be invited because they would like to be involved, but they're very careful not to be too pushed forward too much. They don't want to be rebuffed and rejected and whatnot. What that did also was open up the when we wanted sponsorship, we would get ready sponsorship from the business sector because they had the interest in it, right?
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, after the third year, the prime minister cut the budget that was being allocated to that celebration because we were getting donations and cash and carrying from the. We had the
Wow.
Mr. Walker open what they call a below the line account. The money would go in there and the civil servants would take care of it. So after a while, it financed itself. Okay, yeah. And not only that, what we do when we go into parishes to hold events, the parishes are encouraged to create their own events, and we support them, give them technical support, especially Independence Day. Um, People would have barbecues. Sometimes they would have 8 events to go to, not organized by them, out of the community, which is doing it themselves to show, to demonstrate the independence. Um, so, so, so it caught on, it got the full support. What we would do, and I think I remember also, one of my regrets is that there's a very well known business house in Barbados who used to benefit tremendously from the lighting ceremony right next door to in Bridgetown. We could not get them spend a cent in the program because after a while, after the first couple of nights of first of November lighting ceremony, people complained that you had 15, 20,000 people in Bridgetown, and they
Yeah.
said they had nothing to do afterwards. So what we did, we put on a concert over on the Independence Square
Mm-hmm.
called where again more local talent would other local that would provide. In addition, we got the people trying to go back to town to with the shop because they're in
Yeah.
town. They want things. I mean, we work with the business persons in Swan Street to light up Swan Street with swans and light up their. I saw the whole of Bridgetown became really became involved, participate, and we never took them for granted. What we would do every year, we would invite them to uh, a little refreshment at government headquarters to review the year, look at the problem and plan, so that we weren't going them just for patronage and support. We involved them and made them feel part of the program and a part of their contribution to the independence of Barbados.
Yeah.
Um, and one of the advantages that we kept it under the Prime Minister's office because there's something about the term Prime Minister office that gets respect and cooperation of people. And we deliberately kept it there. We got people in the NCF were jealous because they wanted to come under their direction. But it could not be treated just like another project. It had to be where people were every day working with the parish independence committees. Who had a month of activities of their own, coordinate to make sure that everything culminated at the right time in the right place. So we had to have a specialized staff. Sadly, now it has now been morphed into community development, and it does not have the same impact because uh, my experience was that once you contacted anybody at any level in Barbados, you said Prime Minister office or whatever, you normally get cooperation or respect and contribution. So I think that it needs to be given some personal attention and direction and infuse the public in it more and more. So I think it's something of which I've been very proud and I'm glad that I was able to be part of that. And it's good to see it live on and be able to use my independent shirt now to go
Yeah.
to celebrate
I
it.
tell you, I
Um,
love anything about patriotism. I love, and this entire segment, I was smiling the whole time because I remembered what that was all about, and I would take the children as well, and we Praise Academy would participate in it, and so it is something that we look forward to, and it's we are looking on and seeing that that is not happening. But as I said tonight, we can make a change as Mr. Murray use his time and his skills and his expertise and his resort and the resources of him and the private sector and everybody. They got together and they put on this event. So we can make a difference. I just want to thank you so much.
before I sign off, if I might just say, it tells you that if you stimulate And that was that is a contradiction to what is happening with the dance hall music, the bashment, right? We gave people wholesome alternatives. They responded. They created poems and songs and dances and plays. A whole gamut of creative activity came with the part. And once you give them, but if you give them, like if you stimulate them with junk, they will respond in junk.
Yes.
I think we have to remind, we have same thing is happening in education today. You have to stimulate them in a particular way, in a particular mind, to get the kind of response that you're looking for.
Yes. Well, thank you, Mr. Murray, for your vision. And as Stephen Strickland is saying, but the thing with it, it wasn't just something he had in his head, but we saw it manifested and we participated in it. And we had that feeling of patriotism. That's why we were so happy listening to him, because we remembered it. And that's why I say we have the solutions. We are enough. We have the light in us and we're going to shine our light. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Murray. Well, we have tonight with us our brothers and sisters from Martinique. And some of you might have been watching social media, and we saw where there was some social unrest in Martinique. You know, the sad thing about it is that we don't really hear that coming from our media or local media in Barbados. But here it is on the Marcia Week show. Thanks to some of you sent me contacts, and I had some contacts as well. And we put it all together, and we're going to do a segment right now on Martinique. Okay, very, very important. The protest began to spread across Martinique in September 2024 in response to high cost of living and social, racial, and economic inequality. This included statistics released that indicated that residents of Martinique paid about 30% to 42% more for food relative to mainland French residents, which was viewed by many demonstrators and civil rights leaders as emblematic of lingering historical racial inequality in the majority Black French territory. The Rally for the Protection of Afro-Caribbean Peoples and Resources supported the demonstrations as part of an ongoing campaign to make food affordable and equitable in price for Martinique citizens. And that's a good cause. Now we need to know exactly what went wrong. Did something go wrong? Because now we hear that there is a whole lot of that I think one person was killed and about 14 persons injured or so. So we have with us tonight Mr. EMRICK LEANDRE, and I can see him in the green room. I'm hoping that he will turn on his yes. EMRICK LEANDRE is here with us this evening, and we also have Miss Maurice Francois, and I'm hoping that I pronounce their names correctly. Emrick Leandre is a journalist, and he's the founder of The Link, FWI, and that's based in Guadeloupe. All right. And so, welcome to the Marcia Rich Show, Emrick.
Hi, how you doing? First of all, let me thank you to guest me in your show. And I'm currently living in Guadeloupe, as you said, but the current situation in Guadeloupe is more quiet than Martinique. But as I told you, in Guadeloupe, we live the same situation than Martinique because we have a life cost is most expensive than France, and yes, poverty
So
is
it is a
high.
similar situation. Well, let
Yes.
me thank you.
Yes.
Let me bring in Maurice Francois, and she's the founder and CEO of Caribbean Community Business Development and English Institute. So, Maurice Francois, good night, ma'am. Did I pronounce your name
Hello,
properly?
hello,
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 we can
hello.
hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Okay, I think you can hear my little froggies in the garden.
Okay, well, welcome to the Marcy Week Show.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm so happy to hear you, right? Because, I'm missing Barbados. I'm missing Barbados. I've been stuck here for the past 5 years. Let's hope finally we'll get something organized by the end of maybe December. Let's hope, because we still don't have any connectivities. Okay, no plane, no aircraft. And this is the most important thing, actually. No
So
connectivity.
Maurice, you're saying that you are now in Martinique,
Yep.
and you're saying that you've lived in Barbados and you want to see a greater connectivity between Martinique and Barbados.
Listen, no, I mean, no, I'm not living in Barbados, but I've been going to Barbados for the past, let's say, 43 years, 43 years since 1982. But I'm kind of, I'm Martinican and Barbadian, and anyhow, I'm Caribbean.
Yes.
French.
French. Wonderful. Well, we're brothers and sisters. That's whether
Yep.
we speak French, whether we speak English, whether we speak
Beautiful.
Spanish. And
Beautiful.
a lot of times somebody saying bonsoir. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
bonsoir.
Or we
Bonsoir.
say, when do we say bon nuit when you're leaving? You say bon nuit.
And I mean, if it's late at night, you say bonne nuit. Okay,
Bonne
but
nuit.
bonsoir is now, right? Later on, we're going to say good night.
Yes. Okay. Wonderful. Yes. Well, we were watching. We have been watching. Emrick, we're
Yes.
watching the YouTube, and we're seeing flames. We're seeing tires burning, and it reminded us really of what we saw during the pandemic. And truthfully, us in the English-speaking Caribbean, we were cheering you on because we said they had the courage to stand up for us. And we were watching you all in Guadeloupe at the time, mainly
Yes.
Guadeloupe, and they had a big uprising there. And then we turned on our YouTube and we saw it happening in Martinique. So I know I read at the beginning that it was about some price hikes in Martinique, but can you describe the situation in Martinique that caused the protest for us, Emrick? And please, he's going to take his time because we don't speak French. So he's going to take his time and explain. So please bear with him and let's follow along. Thank you.
But I can explain in English if you want. It
Yes,
would be
English
better.
is good.
Okay. As you mentioned, actually, the current situation is in Martinique is bad because there are riots everywhere in every city. The people burn supermarkets, block the roads. This is the same situation than in 2021 during the COVID-19 pandemic in Guadeloupe and Martinique as well. But before talking about this current situation, we need to talk about the past, because in 2009, the people in Guadeloupe and Martinique were in the street to ask for the same, to ask the same, to talk about the same issue. Because
Yes,
in 15 years ago, I don't know if you remember, the syndicate is called Elidomota, put the streets and asked for the French government a better life study.
they asked for what?
And
Can you repeat that, please?
Sorry.
the Elidomota, I don't know if you know him. It
No,
was
I don't know about that.
okay. 15 years ago, Guadeloupe and Martinique were in the streets to ask for the French government more respect for the price and a better life standing. But we looked at that 15 years later, we live the same situation.
Hmm.
People are in the streets, people block the roads, they burn supermarket. This is needs, the same needs, yes.
Anyhow,
Okay, we're receiving.
hello,
Okay, 1 second. We
Okay.
had a little challenge here. Yeah, sorry,
hello.
sorry about that. We lost you there for a little. I'm just gonna let him close up his thoughts, and then we're gonna go to Marie. So that's interesting
Okay.
that you're saying it's over 15 years ago that you've been asking for changes, and
Yes.
nothing has happened. So and I love the fact that you're giving us that history, And to this day, nothing has happened. You're still blocking the roads. You're still rioting. You're still protesting because you want some change. Maurice, Francois, can you? So that was what happened, 15 years ago. Can
Yep.
you bring us up to date? What was going on with in terms of the prices? You are in Martinique now.
Yes.
Talk to me
Okay.
about the prices and your current situation.
Okay. I mean, talking about the prices, of course, we have high cost of living. I would say in all the Caribbean, not only in Martinique, right? I mean, I'm sure you have it in Barbados too.
Yes.
But I mean, the thing is, you've been trying to use your little garden. Everybody grows something. Everybody
Well, not
grows.
quite, not really, not in
Not,
Barbados.
not really. But I've, I've been in Barbados long enough to know that you're growing more than we are growing. You have more greens than what
Okay.
we have.
More than Martinique.
Okay,
Okay.
Martinique. I mean, it's. I am not going to the supermarket to get vegetables. I go to my little people, the little market, the fresh green market, the
Yes.
one you have, on Saturday, and you go with your little basket and you
Yes.
buy, you buy the nice and fresh and vegetables, right?
Yes.
But here we got accustomed to go to the supermarket and 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 buy lettuce and all kind of whatever vegetables coming from, I would say, anywhere, coming from France. You have to say the word. You have to say the word. If
Yes.
we could, I don't blame. I mean, the cost of living is the cost of living. I agree that everybody is protesting, but if you have here, we have people, we have our own, I would say, we have the marketplace. Then we have to use what we are producing, but we don't produce anymore. And that's the problem here in our country.
Yes.
Everybody, we could grow like you growing
Mhm.
onions, garlic, uh, green potatoes, everything.
Yes,
Because
everything from abroad.
everything can grow in Martinique. Rice, we can grow everything. But it's so easy to go. Now, you have chefette. Okay, let's make a joke of that. You have chefette, right? You love your chefette. Okay, this is Belgian. You love your chefette, but chefette is Barbadian. You agree with me, right? Chefette is Barbadian. But what we do, we are accustomed now to go and buy hamburgers, go to McDonald's, easy does it. We don't want to grow anything. Very few go to the little market next door and have the country girls, the country people giving us fresh vegetables. It doesn't cost us more, but I don't mind buying more. I don't mind paying more, but the food is from Martinique. Then we can grow tomatoes, we can grow anything, anything, anything. And that's the problem. Then the cost of living, everybody's complaining the cost of living, but it's not only this, it's more than the cost of living. It's a problem with, I would say, time has come for Martinicans to choose. I am for Martinique, I am Martinican. To choose wherever, whatever they want, I mean, what they want. If they want just to continue like that, blah, 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 complaining, da, 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 or choose, I want to stay French, I want to stay French, I want to have a French passport, I want to have a French flag, and I want to stay French, or I want to cut everything and be Martinican, have my own flag, my own passport, and be free like all the Caribbean
Right,
brothers and sisters.
right.
This
Yes,
is,
that,
this is
Get
the time.
your true,
It's a
get your,
challenge.
true.
yeah,
It's a
get your
challenge.
true independence. I
Yes,
understand what
yes,
you're saying there.
yes.
Let me
But
bring Emrick in a little bit here, Emrick, because I'm listening to Maurice, and while we might be a little better, she says, than Martinique, we're very much similar. I know Mr. Moore would agree with us because over 80 something percent of our food is actually imported
Yep.
into
yes,
Barbados. So
this is true.
we're living a similar situation there. But let me ask you, Emrick, how did it? So yes, you've been having high food prices, but what really was that thing that sparked the fire for you in Martinique? Is it a particular group or a particular person? Was it a radio show?
No,
How did they spill out on the streets in Martinique? Do you know?
no. This is not a particular group. This is a common hunger because the roots of this hunger take its roots from the slavery situation. Because in Martinique and Guadeloupe as well, we have a caste of white settler who got the power. They are businessmen, but their backgrounds are white settlers, and they still have the power, the money power. They live with in a good house. They have the supermarket. They can, if I can tell you, these white settlers can ask the French government who will be the next minister of the French territory overseas. These
I
guys
mean,
are so powerful,
but I
and
mean,
we need to change it.
No. Go ahead,
you
Maurice.
have the same. You have the same in Barbados. All over the Caribbean, you have these big, you have these whiteys, and having, we have them in Barbados too. You have them in all the Caribbean. But we have to work to sit down and say, okay, history is history. We have to move on. We have, I mean, I am in education. What I'm teaching the kids and the young people is to respect each other. We have to work together. We have to forgive each other, and we have to prosper along. You cannot continue like that and talking. Yes, I mean the white people having this, but you can't break a chain. Break the chain. In
Yeah, but
Barbados, you have
Maurice,
But
and I think Emmerich is probably saying, well, how do we do that? And what because you know what is interesting about Martinique and Guadeloupe, is that I watch from the pandemic, and I'm looking at this now. There is no other Caribbean island that has done any kind of revolt of this magnitude during the pandemic, and now we're all dealing with high food prices. But what
yes,
is it that is so different between from Martinique and Rembrick? That's the question I want you, as a younger person here, I
but
want you to explain to me, what do you think is so different between the English speaking Caribbean and the French speaking Caribbean? Why are you guys on the street, and you are doing what we think of doing? You're
but
actually doing it. What is causing that?
as you mentioned, this is a difference between our English neighbors and us because, as you know, you're independent, but in Guadeloupe and Martinique, we are French. And when you ask the people if they want to be independent, they answer you that they won't, and they don't want the independence because they
They don't
know
want
that
what? Repeat
they don't
what
want the independence. The independence, you know?
independence.
Yes, independence. Sorry for my French.
Yeah, that's
Um,
okay. Sorry for my English. So they don't want independence.
no, because they know that we don't have the leaders to lead us to the independence.
oh come on. I mean a leader. I mean we have leaders. One has to say, okay, I am going to lead the country. If you want to be free, if you, I mean, the Caribbean, a leader. Who is the leader? A leader could be you, could be
Yes,
anybody. Said,
of
okay, I
course,
am
of
going to
course,
lead the country.
of
I
course.
am
And
responsible. Okay, let's go forward. Let's drop that flag. Let's drop the French flag. Burn our French passport. Okay, I'm not mad, but I am talking for those who are burning. Okay, you burning. Okay, then burn your passport, burn your French passport, burn everything. I said, okay, now free. Let's
yes,
do it.
yes, we can do it. We can
Okay,
do
but
it,
then do it. Do it.
but
Go
no,
ahead and do it.
but this is difficult
But
because
let him
Martinique.
respond. Let him respond. Go ahead, Emrick. She's saying that you can do it. You are a much younger person, and you're saying, but as somebody say, Aurelie Rukua says, but we do not have the possibility of doing large exportation, I guess, because most of the territory is exploited by
Yes,
Becky's dictators of the island. Let me hear from what she's saying. Do it. You can do it.
Oh
You don't
yeah.
have to
yes.
burn down the
If I
country. Go ahead.
When there is a will, there is
There's a way. So
always
let
a
me hear
way.
Emrick. Emrick,
oh,
respond to Maurice.
yes, okay. I'm a journalist. As a journalist, sometimes I
Cool.
ask people why they don't want to go to independence like our neighbors, like
Why they don't want
Barbados.
independence?
Because this is a strange situation, because when we have a bad situation we hate France, but yes, for sure, but in the good situation we are proud to be French.
Mm-hmm.
And we are, and this is a true situation, we are
Yes.
racist against our neighbors. We don't like people from Dominica, we don't like people from Haiti, and we are proud to be French. We are proud to be French, but when during this bad situation, as I said, people hate France, and the French government always send police and military police to calm down the situation. And yes, this is a strange situation, and I don't even understand why people want independence. They are proud to be French. They are proud to go to be athletes. For example, the French Caribbean are good athletes for during the Olympic Games. We
Mm-hmm.
have Teddy Riner and different athletes. I don't even remember.
Mm-hmm.
And Guadeloupe and Martinique are part of the French history as
Yes.
well, because we have fought different battles for the French history. I don't know if
Yes.
you understand
Yeah,
what I
I
mean.
Okay.
definitely understand. So you want to be French because that's your history. Your
Yeah, this is
history is
our
French.
history. This is our history.
Oh well,
Emmerich is saying
listen.
your history is French. So that we don't want to move away from this protest here that we're seeing. So I'm looking on the screen here and I'm seeing, Maurice, that it's mainly Afro what you call them, Martinicans, is that what you say?
Sorry.
These are people from African background that are on the streets, or do you have a mixture? Who are the
I
people on the
mean,
streets,
I
Maurice?
mean, listen. Those who are, I'm repeating myself, but those who are burning, and you have maybe three kinds of people there. You have those who are genuine. Okay, they said yes, the cost of living. Okay, the cost of living. We have to do something about it. The government has to do something about it, and the authorities, because we do have what they call the CTM. Okay, our government here, because we have these people there. They are in I'm not going to call names, but they are in charge of our little, I would say, second step government in Martinique. You see what I mean? Right.
Yes.
I'm not going to call names. Okay, they are the politicians. You know, when I say politicians,
Yes.
these people, they have the power. I said the power to put everything right.
But
They
people
have
are
the
afraid.
power. But will they do it? How are they going to do it? And when they're going to do it? And that's why the bulk of the population, which means you have a lot of anger in the young people, that's where it comes. These young people out of jobs. Look, okay,
That's
out of
true.
jobs, listen, because I am in the educational system, and that's since 19 whatever 72, because I started in England. I am in the educational system and I want to stay in the educational system, because I said, okay, when I came back to Martinique, I said, we have to have these young people to wake up and work in the Caribbean. That's why I built CCBD, Caribbean Community Business Development, because we are a community. Okay, we are, some of them are Spanish, some of them are whatever, Santo Domingo, some of them are French, some of them are British, some of them are not British anymore, they are St. Lucian, but whatever. Then these Caribbean, it is a jewel, which means I would say it that we, each of us, are pearls. Each of us, we are diamond. Each of us, each country. Let's say Saint Lucia is a diamond.
Mhm.
Barbados is a diamond. Martinique is a diamond. That's why all the European, they want to come in the Caribbean to have
Yes, for
a
sure.
breath of fresh air, and to
Yes.
have, the sun, sea, and whatever. Sun, sea, whatever. Now, we we know that we live in heaven. We live in heaven because some people are paying so much money to come to see us. We live in heaven. Then what are we going to do to keep this heaven? And that's what I'm talking to the young people. And most of them is just fun and play and doom doom doom. Carnival starts. Let me tell you something. Last carnival started before Christmas in Martinique. Before Christmas.
You know what, Maurice? You are talking, and here is Emric. Emric is a young
But
man, and he's laughing and scratching his head. Emric, do you
yes,
think that your generation of people, you're in Guadeloupe, and those in Martinique,
yes,
you are ready to lead this country? Because here's Maurice saying to you, go ahead, take the leadership. Or is it that you are the ones who want to burn down the country? You want, you are all into destroying the country and into partying, and you're not that responsible. Is that true?
is that true? But I don't even answer to your last question because the anger in Martinique is the same in Guadeloupe because we need, 2 years ago, the French government dropped a trial against the use of a pesticide called the chlordicon. It has been used in our field to fight against mice, and it had been used during 20 years. But the pesticide has been comment dire ça encore? Oh, sorry for my French.
Buried.
Yeah, it's a
Buried.
buried, even except in the French Caribbean.
Mm.
Yes, this is the reason why people are hungry. After we talk about independence, but everybody in Guadeloupe and Martinique is afraid to be because we know that the French settlers, we will leave an apartheid system if we will be independent due to the life differences between the whites and the blacks.
Yes.
Yes, the whites farmer are very rich, and it will be the same situation in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the reason why people is afraid about the independence, because we know that we will be poor, but very, very poor than Haiti and the white
Ah.
settlers.
What?
Yes, yes,
What?
yes. The,
What?
we
No, no,
we
allow
need
him
to
to speak.
talk
Come
about.
Allow
We
on,
need
him.
to
come
Wait,
talk.
wait.
on.
Maurice,
We need to talk
Maurice, allow
about.
him to express himself. Allow him to express himself because we need to
Okay.
hear from the youth. It's very important. Okay, just continue,
We
finish,
need, we
and
need
then
to
Maurice
talk
will speak.
about the situation. The colonial masters still exist in Martinique and even in Guadeloupe. But there is a difference between Guadeloupe and Martinique in the history, because
Oh,
during the French Revolution, Guadeloupe made its own revolutions against its former settlers. In 1749, 1794, excuse me, we beheaded our settlers, our masters,
Mm-hmm.
not in Martinique. And yes, and today the white community in Martinique invest our economy, and they are very very powerful, very very powerful. They can decide it if you will be the next president of the council. If you this is a true thing. They are
Mm.
very very powerful, and we don't have a black community and even powerful than us, than them. So come
come
Oh.
on,
on.
come on, come on.
Yes.
Then this
Okay,
is
so
No,
that
this
is
is
so
the
that, but it's
truth.
important. It's important, it's how we see things, and we only have another 3 minutes in this segment. Of obviously, this
okay.
we can't. But
Yeah,
Maurice, let me ask you, what
yeah.
is what right now? Right now, what is it? What's happening on the ground? I think they've sent some more police, or is it the army? They've sent some bodies
I
from
mean,
France. I read. Is that true? To put
yes,
on the road
yes,
in Martinique. So what's
yes,
happening?
yes, yes.
Can you explain to me what's happening on the ground in Martinique with the
Okay,
protest,
okay,
please?
okay. Then now we're getting into the rough and tough situation, which means the police here needed some more. They needed help. Of course, they needed help because, as I told you, there are three kind of gangs. I'm not talking about gangsters. Three types of different groups. Different groups. You have those who are really asking for something which is genuine, and you have those who are there to break and enjoy whatever they have to enjoy, and you have those who are really really tough and rough, and they have guns, more guns, and they are powerful because behind them they have powerful people, powerful. Then it is a difficult situation when you get all these three dimensions in, I mean, in hyper. It's just like opening the Pandora box. You know the history, you know the story. Once you open the Pandora box, it's all over the place. Then that's where you cannot really run there and run there. Everything is kind of wow, wow, wow. And this is what is happening in Martinique. Now, let's make a story short.
Yeah.
What is happening now, most people are crying. Yes, it is true. Because so many businesses got burned down, and businesses who had something like 40, 50, whatever people, and little, they were working, they had the women, men, they lost their job. They lost their job and they're crying at home. No cars, no money, no nothing. And so many women and men now are crying, okay, that's the price. One has to pay the price for peace. One has to pay the price. Somebody has to pay the price.
Yes.
But again, it's not those who are asking for uh, uh, to low down the cost of living. I told you there are three
Three groups.
powers.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I'm
Understood.
not going to call. I'm not going to talk about the other powers because these are heavies. Then we don't control the heavies. And in Guadeloupe and Martinique, Guadeloupe is Guadeloupe, Martinique is Martinique. We don't have at all the same mind, the same similarities. Guadeloupe is bigger than Martinique, and Guadeloupe, they are free to go. You have Saint Martin, they are free. They can have a plane to go to, they can catch a plane to go to wherever they want. If they want to go to Barbados now, easy does it. They have
Yeah.
connectivities. They're not
Yeah.
stuck like us. We are stuck since 2019.
And I guess that is what is erupting now. All of that is that pent up emotion. Let me just
Yeah.
go. We have our final word with Emmerich. Emmerich, what do you want to say to those that are watching in the English speaking Caribbean? We have about 800 people on watching you live right now. What do you want to say to those who are watching in the English speaking Caribbean? What do you want to say to them about Martinique right now?
But if I got something to say, it's that people in the English speakers need to know that the French Caribbean, we are Caribbean also, but we are different than you because we have been colonized by the French government. This is the difference between the British colonizers and the French ones. British were very this is a difference of power. We are actually you are free. British government lets you to be free, but the French government never let its former colony in Africa or abro- to be free. This is a true thing.
So it's
And
different. Yeah.
yes, and if Guadeloupe became independent or Martinique, it will be the same situation. The French government will be there to will be there like they do in Africa, in the French speaking Africa, but we will have to fight and fight again. And to me, to change the situation, we need to vote a law as we did in 2009, but our different governments changed this law, and this is the
Mhm.
reason why we still live in this situation. Sorry,
Yes.
the light
Well,
is low.
well,
Yes,
thank you so very much, Emric. Thank you, Maurice,
yes.
Okay.
for just we touched just we have just had the time because we've gone over time. It's quite interesting to hear the different viewpoints, and believe you me, we'll be calling upon you again because I thought it was quite interesting tonight. So thank you.
I would
Thank
say
you.
one word all over what I teach to the new generation coming is peace,
Peace. Yes.
love, and respect.
And
Once you have
respect.
the three, peace, love, and respect. Respect, which means you respect yourself, you
Yes.
respect the one in front of you, is not higher than you, is not lower than you. If you give peace and love and respect, everything is going to be all right. And
Yes.
my little ones from 3 to, when they see me, they said, Teacher Maurice, peace, love, respect.
And respect. Thank you so
Respect.
much. Peace, love,
Okay.
and respect.
Thank
Thank you,
you
Thank
Marie.
you.
too. Thank you. Thank
Thank,
you.
thank you,
All the
Eric.
best.
God bless you.
You're
God
Bye
welcome.
bye.
bless. Okay.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. God bless you. Wow. Mr. Murray, I know you wanted to say something there at the end, but we really needed to close off this session. Can you just say, give us half a
Yeah,
minute of what
yeah,
you had
yeah.
to say?
I think the gentleman said what he wanted to say. France is still a very rapacious and disgusting colonizer. France is doing to Martinique and Guadeloupe know what it has been doing to Haiti since independence and what it does, to, like he said, to the colonial, to the so-called free African states who are French. For example, would you believe that some 85% of those former French colonies in France have to keep their foreign 80% or 85% of their foreign have to be kept in France. They are an exploiter of the most horrendous kind in this day and age, and they have no sense of shame. They have no sense of proportion. And so what they've been doing for Haiti since independence, they continue to do to Mali and Guadeloupe, like I said, to the even so-called independent African state. It's really it's quite horrendous.
Yeah, it's a similar thing, and the young man made mention of it
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
as well. Miss McLean, I know you. Good night. Welcome
Hi.
to the show.
Hi,
I
how are
know you.
you?
Good. I know you would have been hearing the discussion. Can you give us a half a minute of your comment before we go right to Mr.
No,
Knox?
I think GLYNE is correct. I've been following France. I was a history student, let me put it that way. But in listening to the two persons, I saw the generational differences. The young man obviously is living, doesn't have, from my estimation, a full understanding of the nature of French, their colonial approaches, the way that they operate. And she does as an older person. So his idea is, I don't know how I could live outside of being, you know, under the French. That's what I heard, unless I heard something wrong. So I think it is really a challenge. It reflects the nature of the French system. They have, and so the whole question is, what is the economy of Martinique and Guadeloupe right now? And these are the kinds of things that would help explain his fears. She obviously has experience of more of my generation and Glenn's generation, and experience the whole relationship with France very differently. And I don't think that if he is like most young people, he may not be following the French activities around the world in their former colonies and current departments, because they are departments of or departments, they like to say in French. But so his view and understanding perhaps explains very much so. And I hope he's following what's going on in Francophone Africa,
Yeah.
together. But it'll be interesting to
Yeah.
hear from them
Yes.
some more.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much, Miss McLean, for your input there. We have the we're gonna call him the Waterman. He's here again. Mr. John Knox, and we've been getting lots of calls, and people thought that it was, and the good thing about this show is that we're raising questions, we're asking people to research, and and I think that's wonderful, and that is what Mr. Knox is doing, and putting information and letting people. I learned so much about water and the water table and how the water goes into the reservoir. I've learned so much from you, sir. And I want to thank you for being here with us again this evening. We're gonna give you the floor because I know you have something you want to say to us, and we have a tight program. After you, Mr. Knox, we have someone coming up, Mr. Millington, Abraham Millington, talking to us about music and all of that stuff. So we and Vibes Cartel. We have lot coming. So over to you, Mr. Knox.
Thank you very much for having me. Um, I think my mother was taught music by, I think it's James Millington, so there might be some connection. The Millingtons I always associate with music. Um, so she would have been taught probably in the 30s, 1930s, almost 100 years ago. So what I see, I can't tell you that I know what's going on with the water problems at Allendale. But what it seems to me, I found a clip from Water Authority that dealt with what they were doing at Allendale. In other words, the problem they're saying is at Allendale. And they actually installed a set of filters. I know from last night, one person is saying that after they install them, and that's only a couple of months ago, after they install them, they were clogged within 2 weeks, which is
Mm-hmm.
suggesting to me that there's mud getting or soil getting to the
Mm-hmm.
well, and the pumps are taking it up, and it ends up clogging the filters. So the issue where the discoloration is concerned, you can look up the word turbidity. I think that there are levels of turbidity which are acceptable,
Can you spell that word
and
turbidity, you said?
turbity. So look
Turbidity.
up Google. Uh, I guess it would be
Okay.
HO has a special unit for measuring it. Um, so what I'm saying there is that the turbidity levels may be within acceptable limits, but obviously not for Barbadians who are accustomed to having their water crystal clear. Um, so the Water Authority is probably placed in a position where it has to try and supply water. That's the picture. There's actually a clip you can look up to see what Water Authority is doing in Allendale. So the Water Authority, I would imagine, is in a real bind if the problem is that the something has happened underground. Nobody knows where. Nobody knows what. Um, that's almost impossible to figure out. It sounds like there's a heavy load of a lot more water coming than before. And one thing that could explain it is what I talked about last night. When you develop a small area and denude it of vegetation um, and more mud and so on, what happens is that you end up actually generating a lot more water to get rid of, because originally the plants would have taken care of 80% of that water. Now all of it has to go underground. So that seems to me to be a good explanation of what what facts are out there in the public. Um, so what I suspect that means is it's possible that the the pumping station may get to the stage where they have to shut the pumping station down, like what they do at Bowmanston. Every time there's heavy rain in the Bowmanston area, mud, what's on the surface, gets into the water, gets into the stream,
Yes.
and the water becomes very turbid, um, brown water. So so they have to shut down the the pumps for a short time, for a couple of days, maybe longer. I don't know. I don't live up there, so I don't know, and I don't get my water from there. But um, at least there, sorry, like it's there when there's heavy rain, and then it isn't there. It sounds like
Yeah.
with Allen, it's there all the time now, which is not. I don't think is good. I think that it can only. It probably will get worse. But again, I don't know all the facts, but that is what it looks like to me. If that were to happen, then it means that the possibility exists they have to close down Allendale. Allendale, it supplies all of the water for St. Lucie. So
Mm-hmm.
what do you do then? Where do you get the water from? Um, if you take it from the Scotland district, which is not used, and get on top of the escarpment and put it underground, it doesn't do Allendale much good, because the problem is already there in the underground. There are other areas it can go to too, but all that would need work to discover if it was feasible. So that is a possibility that residents in St. Lucie have to consider, that they may have to depend on the water truck. But I was looking at Bermuda. Bermuda is a very, very small island. It has something like 63,000 inhabitants on that very small area.
So, before
And
you
they
go
have
any
some,
further, Mr. Knox, so you're saying that based on what is happening, there's a possibility that they might have to shut down. And you've been saying that since the last show, shut down Allendale, because it's not changed. Normally, that over time it would change, right? But it's not. It
yeah,
seemed to be that it's
seems to
not
be,
changing.
yeah. I don't have all the data. I may
Yes.
have talked with people and heard about it and so on, but um, I would need really to see, and I haven't really seen. So
Hmm.
I go by what I see in the press and what I see on clips that's issued by
That what
the water
exactly would
authority.
make sense. I just
That's
wanted to
really
clarify that. And
it's
so
really
you,
good. It's really good that they're in the open and they're actually telling us what is happening. Um, so you can make your judgments. Um, like I say, perhaps the turbidity levels are acceptable as far as the standards that they need to meet are concerned. Um, I don't know. They have to. They have. I would say they have a problem, a definite problem, and that is the possibility they actually have to shut down Allendale. And if that's the case, where does St. Lucie get its water from? Can be, if you look at all the other catchment areas that are exploited by water authority, all of them are fully utilized. So it means that if you take, I think Allendale is 1.66 million gallons of water per day. So if you take 1.66 out, it it's not. It may not seem to be huge, but when you don't have much water, it's huge.
yes.
Um, so I was trying to think from my point of view. If I lived in St. Lucie, what where would I get water from? Um, I mean, there's I guess during the wet season, spring hall, there's a spring there. Down in River Bay, there's a constant stream running. I think that's fed from the spring up there.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not sure how good that water would be because there's a lot of development in the area, and surface water doesn't do well um, when there's too much human activity around it. So where would I get the water from? So I I figured if I were living in St. Lucie, I would catch rainwater like it was going out of style.
Makes
Um,
sense.
and because that happens, the problem is St. Lucie is a pretty dry parish. So during the dry season, there's not going to be much rain available to catch. So you have to have a big enough tank and catch enough water to get
Hmm.
you through. So you have to be, if you choose that option, you have to be on top of your consumption and know what you're using. But that is an option because, like I was saying in Bermuda, um, very small island, 63,000 people. They have something like 3,000 people per square mile. We have about it's 166 square miles, and um, what 300,000 people. So we're well below that. So what they do is they catch water from their roofs. They have standards. Um, so the Bermuda roofs are specially designed. Um, Here's a guy sitting on top of one, and he's explaining how they what you see the stepped the I guess it's in steps. The idea is to slow the water flow down the side of the down the side of the roof, the incline of the roof,
Mm-hmm.
and that way, when it gets to the lowest point, it's not traveling at a high rate of speed. So that way, you're in better control of where it goes. It
Mm-hmm.
goes into gutters and so on. And those gutters feed tanks, outside tanks. So it isn't that nobody does it, and nobody does that. A lot of people do, and they rely on it religiously for years and years and years, and they probably will rely on it for years to come. So it works, um, and it's to do with. I mean, it probably can catch off galvanize, and but the problem is the water is flowing pretty quickly. It goes in. You're going to lose a lot in the gutters. Um, so what they have done is actually perfected how they build their roofs, and that's something that maybe we have to look at very carefully if we got to catch our own water. Um, there's another island that has a water problem as
Let me
well.
say, Dave can play, just play a little bit of it, Dave, without the audio, so we see. Because one of the features of it, because you sent it to me today, and I was looking at it, uh, there, yes. So we're playing some of it without the audio right now. But the feature of it is that they said when you go to Bermuda, you see a lot of white roofs. Okay, and it's a national standard that it's saying here that the roofs are white, right? Yeah, and that, because they don't have a lot of water, and so they depend on rainwater. They don't have a lot of water bodies, a lot of rivers, and the roofs are white, and it's like standard. Isn't that what you understood, Mr. Knox? That it's standard that everybody's roof is white.
Yeah, uh, I think the guy makes the point that when he was at school, he had to wear a uniform. When he was at work, he had to wear a uniform, and he didn't like it. But he realized what the reasons were, especially now with the now he's the sort of like a uniform situation. It gives them identity. Everybody knows that what they have to do, and they just do it. All there's a sense of community. They actually work. Obviously, must work together. I would imagine, um, but the objective is to survive because without water, you die. Um, so if they do have a small amount of groundwater. So if people run out of water, they will order up a load of water from the supplier, and it will be delivered, and it will be put in their tanks, and they will take it from there if they've not caught enough. But there's you have to really, if that is actually tried, if somebody decides to try that, just make sure if you know somebody from Bermuda,
Mm-hmm.
listen listen to what they tell you, and size the tank and so on according to what they tell you.
Yeah.
Uh, you cannot
Actually,
use water. You cannot
uh-huh. Before you go there,
use water at the
Mr.
rate at
Knox,
which you're using
Mr.
now.
Knox, just hang on that thought there. Back to the roofs before you move on to that.
Yes,
Davis found a quote here that says that the roof in Bermuda is made of limestone. It is heavy and not easily shifted by hurricanes. And in the past, it was covered in a lime mortar, which had antibacterial properties. Now the mortar has been replaced by paint. It's still white because this reflects ultraviolet light from the sun, which also helps to purify the water. Isn't that interesting? So they have worked this down to a science, and it is
right.
cultural to have white roofs in Bermuda because they are trying to solve their water problem. That's it, the white roofs, right? Back to you, Mr. Knox.
Yeah, the point is that there's a solution. It depends on how much money you have to spend. Um, if you go to another island like say Singapore, Singapore is the same size as Barbados. and it has a population, I think, of 4 million people, and they're looking to increase it to 6 million. Where do they get their water from? They get their water from the Malaysian peninsula. People don't realize there's a pipe under the Straits of Johor. So they get the fresh water. It's not pure. They treat it, and they use it. But when Lee Kuan Yew was in charge, what he realized was that without water, you're bereft of sovereignty. You have no control over yourself. So he worked out an agreement with the Malaysian government where he would buy a certain amount of water every year. He would treat it, and then he would send back some of the treated water to Malaysia at a discounted rate. But after time, Malaysia realized, and that was supposed to be, I think, up to 2060 or something. So after time, Malaysia realized, we could treat it too, sell the water to Singapore and make some money. But they're in agreement. They're in an agreement, so they can't get out until a certain time, and they will. So Singapore has basically said, okay, so we need to find other sources of water, and what we've done is treated sewage. They actually recycle water that way. The heavy rainfall, which I always had. They have some water coming from Malaysia, and they also have water. They desalinate a lot of water. But you see, Singapore is a wealthy country, has a thriving economy, can afford all those things. If you can't afford those types of things, then like desalination and so on, then you're left with catching water when the rain falls. So maybe
it is simple. It is simple.
Yeah, it's simple, but not. I mean, until you would prefer to walk into it slowly, get a problem solved, figure out how to do it, and then just do it. Because obviously, island-wide, we do have a problem. It doesn't help that every now and again you hear there's a hotel to be built, because when you build a hotel, there's a lot of water that's going to be used. We want 80,000 people to come. Of course, they're not going to be people who use very little bit of water. They need to have greenery around them. So you might get taxes and so on, but you have to pay because you have only a certain amount of water to expend. So we definitely have to do some thinking. It's it's getting that time to face the music, and that's basically what I would like to say about that.
Yeah. I mean, we're so much in agreement with you. As somebody said, it's simple, but it's not always convenient. And I remember there was a group that we put together on the show earlier, Miss McLean, if you remember. And there was a group that was dealing with water, and they were the first ones who came to me about this Bermuda white roof solution to the water problem. And then Mr. John Knox sent it to me today. And I'm wondering if you've been in government for a while, and Mr. Murray, has this idea been something that has been floated around? Have you heard it being discussed? And, we've not heard it from our government officials. Why not? Do you have any thoughts on it, either Ms. McLean or Mr. Murray? You're muted, Ms. McLean.
Yeah, I don't know that has to be our first solution. I mean, it is okay. I mean, and I just heard a description of the rules, etc. Mr. Knox spoke about Bermuda, but let me speak about Bahamas. You've heard a lot of discussion for years now about what they call non-revenue water. Simply put, that's water that is lost due to our mains, broken mains, etc. And that's why we've had a replacement program that has been going on, certainly when I was part of the cabinet, and continuing. what the Bahamas has done, and I know that there were proposals to do it. I don't know if the equipment had been purchased or why. We'll have to go back and do some reading. There's equipment, there's technology to detect leakages in the system. And in fact, if you look at I'm just looking at trying to find a report here as you were talking in relation to the Bahamas, they were able to reduce, and it says here, after years of successful leak detection activities throughout New Providence, etc., um, they were able to increase, reduce the water, I think, by 40% in a given period. In essence, we lose a lot, and estimates have been about 50 to 60% as a worst case of the water that's supposed to go through the system. So I'm not talking about St. Lucie at the moment. So one of the first things that we really have to do is pay attention to sorting that problem out. We can at the individual level, there's nothing to stop any house owner to changing his or her roof. But I don't know that we have to go to government policy as a first resort. I certainly believe that Barbadians can and have been catching water, capturing rainwater directly and so on. But within the system, I think that we have to look at the systems that we have in place right now, look to see how efficient they are, what problems are there, and how we solve them. Because if we are losing 50% of our water on the ground, repair that. I mean,
Yeah.
we hear a lot of talk about how many years it would take, etc. But if you have a leak detection system, which is proactive, you don't wait until you have what I would call explosions of water, because by the time the water starts to seep to the surface, and beyond seeping, that you see these waterfalls, as I would call them, when the thing ruptures. Um, that could have been identified and addressed, and there is proof that the systems work, and I will go back and look at, as I
Yeah.
say, some documents to tell you the kind of money that allocated for that and so on. So
Right.
that's one of the things. So if people want to use the initiative and do that in a proactive way, and even outside of the roofs, I mean, and John can perhaps speak to this. I know that when my sister and her husband, they built a second home, and they were required to put a tank in place. They have an something like a basement catchment, whatever and whatever. And I think that's probably part of the requirement. I don't know if people follow the law and do what they're supposed to do. The other question is, when you do that, what do you do with the water? Do you connect it to your bathrooms, like your toilets, your
Right,
gardens,
right, yeah,
whatever?
that's it. But Miss McLean, let me, because of time. Thank you so much. So, we are talking solutions tonight. John is talking specifically to the crisis that we have in St. Lucie, and
Mhm.
so he's promoting a Bermuda solution. As
For
the
certain houses, for just St.
main,
Lucie,
huh?
for just St. Lucie.
No, all houses. Let me show you a real problem that we have.
But before you
That
show me the real problem, I want to get to Mr. Murray. I want to bring Mr. Murray
Yeah.
in
sorry. My
real
goodness.
quick,
Yeah,
and
look,
then we are going to have 5 minutes to wrap up this entire. Then we go to
I,
Mr. Knox, and that's what we'll have to wrap up tonight. But
I think
let's go to Mr. Murray.
I think the first thing that has to be done is for the government to show respect to the people of Barbados, and especially the people in St. Lucie at this stage, and inform them as to what's going on, especially the Prime Minister, who is Minister responsible for authority now. Apart from that, can you tell me anybody who is the chairman of the Barbados Water Authority Board? They don't come to the public. They don't report to the public. They don't advise the public. So we are basically shooting in the dark because nobody is respectful enough to live to their commitment to be transparent and tell us what is going on, what the good, the bad, the right, or what is positive, etc. So we are being treated with scorn. I think it's disgusting and almost unthinkable that that a water authority can charge people in St. Lucie for water which they are not getting, or poor quality water. I think it's wrong, it's unethical, it's immoral, and I think that those are the kind of things that need to be tackled up front before we get into the long-term proposed solutions. Come to the public and inform us as to what's going on.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Murray. Over to Mr. Knox, and before we close off this segment.
The 1978 Stanley Water Resources Report predicted that by 1995 or 6, all of the available water from the coral cap will have been allocated and used. Obviously, there was leakage. And at that time, 30 years ago, the number given was about 50%. Okay.
Mm.
Now, if you look, if their prediction is right, you should see the amount of water that's pumped by Water Authority, which used to appear in the Economic and Social Report. I think it used to be in Appendix 28. You should see that number reach a level in the mid 1990s and stay there because you can't get any more water. That's exactly what happened. It reached a certain level and stopped. They do not pump more than this amount of water. And for the past 30 years, we have survived. Why would that be? I can think of two reasons. First of all, the leak detection. I think that Water Authority is not given enough credit for what they have done. They have actually taken that level and they were saying losing this amount of water. And to get us through the past 30 years, they have to have reduced the amount of water that is lost. So I think they have I think their leak detection scheme is good. It's working. I remember when I was a boy, when there was a problem, there's with a burst main, there was always a green tent pitched, and it was there for a while. Nowadays, you pass, you see a burst pipe. When you pass back, they're on the scene, they're fixing it, um, and it's going to be fixed quickly, efficiently. So I think Water Authority is doing its job. The second way they actually solve the problem of that limit of water is everybody is now metered. It used to be there was a flat rate. So people abuse the system. The Everybody is metered, so everybody knows that they want to only use so much money on water per month. So they actually are careful with their water. So the actual consumption rate, I think, has fallen. So I think those are two possible explanations as to how we got through the past 30 years. And I think that the metering is one, and they increase the rates as well, and the ability to detect and fix leaks, which I don't think Water Authority gets enough credit for. You have to think about the fact that we were at the limit 30 years ago, and yet we got through. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
You're
I
muted,
mean, you.
Marcia.
Thank you so much, Mr. Knox, for coming on again. And I don't know if I hope that people remember that on the 27th of October, we are going to St. Lucie in solidarity to show solidarity with St. Lucie. We're inviting you, Mr. Knox. We are dubbing you the Waterman, so you've got to be there. And we're asking everybody to come down, Miss McLean, everybody come down, and we are going to do a motorcade. And in the motorcade, we're also going to be distributing water. So we're asking everybody come with a case of water in the back of your car, or you can fill up gallon bottles of water, clean bottles. You can buy new bottles and fill them up with your clean. Make sure the tap water is clean that you put in it, and we can just share water. We share water because we have clean water up here in St. Philip, and I'm going to fill up a couple of the bottles and also buy some water as well and bring from my brothers and sisters in St. Lucie. So that's October 27th. So you know, Mr. Knox, we're not a talk shop. We're an action. You know, we believe in action, and we're joining, of course, with the residents of St. Lucie. They're the ones on the committee, and they're putting this together, and we are the mouthpiece for it. That's all that it is. But they're doing all the organizing. So I want to thank you so much for coming on and inspiring us, Mr. Knox. And I know people are going to do more research on Bermuda. And Miss McLean mentioned Bahamas. We'll also research Bahamas. Thank you so much. God bless you.
You too. Thank you.
All right, all right, all right. So we are moving along tonight. I tell you, it is a fast one, and I still want to have the viewers calling in. So let me say to remind viewers that in another 25 minutes, I would say about 9:30, 9:35, we're going to ask you to call in to the program to discuss any of the topics that we spoke about tonight. And we're going to put the number up. You know what the number is that we're going to put up on the screen. That is 1246 236 7000, and that's a number you can call in to make a comment, and just call after 9:30, please, after 9:30. Well, we have Mr. Abraham Millington with us. Has just joined us. Mr.
Oh,
Millington, how are you?
I'm doing well. How's the studio? How's everyone in the studio?
We're good. We're good. We have a packed program tonight. There's still another thing we want to touch on with Miss McLean. We're going to touch on it tonight and pick up on it later on in the week. But we're ready for you right now.
Okay. You saw my message. I told Dave to look at the amended one. I just sent him in the email. I'm not sure if he got the.
Right. So you sent an amended one at 9:10.
Yes.
Okay. So Dave, he will check. So you can start while he checks for
Essentially,
that. You would have to give
right.
him a little time.
Right. So essentially, what I wanted to do is to go back over just the accounts, and because we have a little more time, I'm going to pull up those 10 songs so people really get a better understanding, because I find it is too peripheral. That people say, "Oh, don't listen to this, don't listen to that," but the younger people or younger folks can recite the things verbatim, and they understand the coded language better than most of the adults. And you can see the correlation between the eating, I call it eating of the language into the brain, and the rising crime that's happening in the Caribbean. And I don't know if you call it Ian Allen, but I mean that's just an example of what's happening in Trinidad. But there is a correlation. I don't need any doctor from any university to validate this, but there is a correlation with what you feed your mind as it relates to high violence on a regular basis, especially from children, and what they work and gravitate to as it relates um, to violence. So I'm
Let's
just
see if Dave is ready. Whenever Dave, we're ready. Whenever you are. And so, Mr. Millington is continuing the discussion, dissecting Caribbean lyricism, music, culture, and organized crime. And last session was very, very informative. And I believe that as he takes us through tonight, and I told him, take your time. We're going to bring you on as many nights as possible. So you don't have to give us everything one time. All right. So let's just hope that we're ready to go. Dave, whenever you're ready. Okay, so we will have to wait. So just while we wait, then, because you need those slides in order to present, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
because
because they were changed at that last minute, so just give us a moment. Let's use the time. Let me switch and go to Miss McLean real quickly
okay.
while we wait. So viewers, please bear with us. This is live television. We're going to switch back to Mr. Abraham Millington in a few minutes. As soon as Dave is ready, he will indicate, and we will switch back to him. But Miss McLean, I ask you to I saw something going around tonight about the whole town civic center. That there's several things, and it seemed a little confusing to me. But there was a document going around, and it seems like it was a bill. Is it a bill or
A
a
resolution, a
yeah,
resolution before Parliament.
resolution before Parliament? And I'm going to turn over to you to kind of give some kind of explanation or at least preliminary explanation, because I know we cannot go into depth tonight. So
Okay,
we have 5 minutes.
very quickly. The resolution was that Abraham's material that Dave put
Yes,
up
but
just
since
now?
we started, take 5 minutes and we're going to switch and we'll come back to it in the
No,
question and
I,
answer.
anyhow. All right, let me do that because I was anyway. Let me just read what the resolution says. The resolution that Parliament, in accordance with Section 5 of the Land Acquisition Act, Chapter 228, approved the compulsory acquisition by the state of parcels of land situated at Trents in the parish of St. James in the island, and more particularly described in the schedules. Now, for public purpose, namely the relocation of the Whole Town Civic Center. The Whole Town Civic Center is where you have the St. James Magistrate Court, St. James that police station, post office,
Mm-hmm.
Barbados Revenue Authority offices, and so on, government offices, and is located um, in proximity to the monument of the land, where the first landing is, and so on, there in Whole Town.
Right.
And this, I think, what you saw circulating was this resolution was dated the 15th of February of this year, but it appears on the Parliament schedule. It was taken to Parliament again, or taken to Parliament in August, and it is therefore there for debate. Now, compulsory acquisition happens. The question is, how come it seems to surprise people? I don't recall. In fact, I was listening after you spoke to me this afternoon. I was listening to uh, Parish Speaks, which took place in at the Frederick Smith School on the 3rd of this month. That's about 10 days ago. And I didn't get to hear the whole thing. It was chaired by the Deputy Prime Minister, attended by the members of Parliament for St. James, along with Minister Abrams, who was acting Attorney General on the night of that meeting. And I was hoping to hear if they dealt with it specifically, but given the time, I haven't gone through it fully, and I haven't seen anything so far in the media to say that has been covered. And what I'm talking about in terms of coverage, very quickly, is a decision to sell the lands. Now, that is a significant decision. It will require town planning approval, and therefore something like that is major. In theory, there's nothing. Well, I shouldn't say it's nothing. Many people may argue that beachfront property is best used for a different kind of development. The environmentalists may tell you that to have such national or governmental agencies, departments, buildings on the seaside with the challenge that we have of sea level rise and all kinds of things
Right.
may be a problem. But my difficulty, and I think this is what many people, once that started going around, is concerned. When was this decision made? Who is involved in the decision? Is there any truth to suggestions that a relative or relatives of the prime minister may be involved, given the names that are being called? Because what you're hearing is that there's some people in the tourism sector
Mm-hmm.
who already own businesses in Barbados who have an interest. And I wouldn't call names because I am trying to find if there's anything written about that. And of course, if you're doing that, the normal and environmental impact studies and all the things will be done. So the acquisition suggests that if you're going ahead and if you look at the acquisition, there's a schedule which I can come back to. I don't want to delay Mr. Millington. But when we look at it again, I can actually take you through the schedules, the actual pieces of land, the owners of land who are being told, we are buying your land, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what compulsory acquisition is. We are taking it. This is government. It says it's for public purpose, and this is contingent, or as a consequence, rather, not
Right.
contingent, of a decision to sell the land and relocate. And for me, that's step two. Step one is the decision to relocate. And have you consulted with the people? Have you even informed people? What are they relocating to make space for? Have those plans been approved, considered, whatever? I mean, we know that we have seen with other major developments, discussions, and all kinds of things either called for or haven't taken place. So I
Yeah.
think this is what is at the heart of the matter. And I think that's probably 5 minutes or probably more.
Yes.
So if we
Well,
have time later, we can
I
come
know
back.
you're going to have time to get into this, as we continue, because I know you're going to keep researching, and we're going to get to the bottom of it, of exactly what is happening. And I had to bring it up tonight. I was sent this, I'm sure, about 15 to 20 times today,
Same
because
here.
they wanted us to say something. But as we're
Same
talking,
here.
I just got something coming in, and in just a minute, Mr. Millington, and this is from a good source, and it is saying that the existing civic center lands have been sold to a developer in a swap arrangement, by which the developer will bear the cost of construction of a new civic center on the lands that are being compulsory acquired by the government. That's what I'm
My,
getting in
my
my.
only comment quickly, if you indulge me, Mr. Millington, is in the process of swapping, have you actually included the price of the development in a discounting of the price of the land? But I will come back to that. Let's move.
Yes. And then I asked them about the document, the resolution, because you sent me the full resolution, and I sent it on to someone who would know. And they said the above document is what is brought to the Parliament, expressing government's intention to compulsorily acquire the lands from the owners. After the resolution is passed, the lands are to formally be transferred to the government for, in this case, the construction of the new civic center. So I
Yeah.
see the question you're asking, Ms. McLean, what would have happened in that transaction,
We will
right?
come back to that. I will speak slowly so the agents would understand, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really want
So
to.
and again, they're looking at the date, the February 15th date, and yeah. So we just have to find out whether was this passed in the House of Assembly,
No,
right?
Marcia, no, no, no. As I told you, that's the date on the document. But if you go to the resolution, the papers, it is on the list of matters to be debated. It is on the order paper, and it was placed there in August. But I will come back to that. I'll give you the exact date. So
Yes. Okay.
they had that sitting around, I presume, because I tried to find it in an earlier order paper, but that does not appear. But it is now on an order paper, August. I will give you the date because I've just switched my
Yeah, I saw that it's August. It was August something.
right.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's yet to be debated.
Okay. All right. So over to Mr. Abraham Millington. I think we're ready now. Is this the slide you're looking for?
Yes.
Okay. So you want the first link to be played?
No, second. We'll ignore the first. The second one is the information we will read, and then
Yes.
the third one we can we're going to go over this one a little slowly. This is dealing with the 13-year-olds. So responses. This is from the same Miss Bebe was talking about in last program. She's in the Department of Health and Psychiatry at the University of West Indies, and she was saying that the responses changed as the ages increased. There were mixed feelings among the 13 to 15-year-olds about tough bad people. Some felt they were feared, not respected, while others saw being bad and tough as a legitimate way to earn respect. And I don't think that I I'm going to go on because I don't think that people understand that for some person to come to a conclusion of why they are the way they are, there has to be a like a more or less a why, in terms of the if you want to call it just the badness, why do you have to be so crude? Why do you have to be so so vile? What image do we have to portray to be respected? Most people respect tough and bad people. It's good and bad. When fighting, you don't cry. Now, something I'm going to stop at this one too. You have you realized that especially amongst Caribbean children and Caribbean parents, I don't know if it's of the last 20 to 30 to 40, even 50 years, this thing about not crying and stuff and not it's almost as if you're trying to raise children that don't have any emotions. I don't know if am I are you have you actually realized that
Yeah.
it's as if that children have been coerced or taught not to have any emotions, not to show the emotions. So when you have children that can't show if they're happy, sad, disgusted, whatever the case, and they have so much pent up feelings in this, then the volcanoes happen. They only burst out when. So mixed responses were also given about people who use force, fear, or
Mhm.
violence. I think the sign is blocking the words. Dissect. Dave, I think your sign is blocking the dissecting Caribbean. Right. Right. Where did this happen? No, mixed responses were given about people who use force, fear, or violence. There was acknowledgement that this behavior was not desirable, but some justification was offered in certain circumstances. They get that way because of desperation. No matter what they do with the money, it's still stealing. That's the bottom line. Um, I think that the rationale to this whole thing is there's no way out. I don't know if it makes sense. It seems like don't care where you go, there's no way out. In contrast, there definitely seems to be a legitimate place for toughness and badness for the 16 to 17-year-olds across all of the socioeconomic groups. There is, however, a definite limit to its acceptance, and the distinction remains between respect and fear. You can't be soft if you want people to look up to you. There is a limit to how tough is all right, but people don't respect you when you're weak. Toughness gets respected. Only the tough and the bad will make it. Persons only, no, this is the account of children, by the way, okay?
Mhm.
Persons only care about themselves with respect to using force, fear, or violence to benefit the less fortunate 16 to 17-year-olds. Acknowledge that this is wrong behavior. All socioeconomic groups, however, had some understanding and sympathy with the perpetrators and the beneficiaries who support them. More
Mhm.
persons in the middle, upper socioeconomic groups were against such behavior. And I'm going to stop it there
Yeah.
because you can see that sometimes, not always, sometimes the socioeconomics does play a part with the um, rationalization of behavior because um, let's call a spade a spade. The more hungry a person is, the more desperate they are. Man, if a man is hungry or a woman is hungry, so much emotions of anger, irrational behavior, restlessness, especially in children or tots, if you want to call it that, from preschool right up to child is hungry and it can't the child can't you can't settle. That's the better word to say. You can't settle.
Yes.
And, so I want to go from this now straight into the next link. If you can hit the next link, Dave, the actual link. Here's where I'm going to put you on the spot again, Marcia.
Mhm.
So here is the actual full account of these 10 songs that were of that time assessed in the order. And we're going to go from the inverted commas, the least, because in my opinion, it's neither here or there as it relates to the content. Right. So at number 10 was Ninja Man,
Right.
and his no, sorry, and his song at that time was New Gun for Bus. Right. So let's go straight down to the lyricism.
And if while you're going down to the lyricism, let me just say, Ninja Man is actually in prison right now, for murder, just so that people understand. Okay.
And the
Um,
context, the background context.
Right. So people understand that he is in prison at the moment for thing. Guys, please, this is so important. I know we're doing it late, but we need parents to pay attention, grandparents, pay attention, please. This is so very, very important at this time. Okay? Yes, go right ahead.
Philip, is this where the lyrics start? Come down, please, a little bit. Hmm. Go back. It means that there's not much lyricism to what he said.
So I could read some of the lyrics. You want to read some or?
Yeah, maybe they didn't have much for him. Come back up again, please.
But the title alone, "No Gun for Bus,"
It says it
here's a
all.
line. Here's a line right
Yes,
here
right
that
here,
I
right,
can
right.
read, right?
That's there.
And it says, with the lines, "You hear one shot, a two that lick, out a boy head, blood start drip." Listen, you hear one shot, a two that lick, out a boy head, blood start drip. And this is from a guy who is now in jail for murder, and he's written these songs. And they played on the airwaves, right?
Of course, and in vans and a fat or a boat cruising coming close to you, coming near to you.
Yes, and it says here that he was sentenced to life in prison for in 2017 for murder in one instance and shooting with intent in another. So people could say all they want, Mister thing about, oh, it's just lyrics. Oh, they say it's just lyrics, but is it really just lyrics?
Or more
It's
than that.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go to number 9. Sorry, let me see who the person is again. Number 9 is oh yeah, uh, Shock Make You Wriggle, by
This is
Junior
Juna
Demas.
Demas.
Demas,
Do you
right?
want me to read?
You go because your intonation is more consistent.
Well, I've been away for so long. I will try. Give me a minute. Make me get my rifle. Me gonna show you dirty nigga how them gonna stifle. Them make another flex in unknown vehicle, and some people them a move like some real barnacle. But I come to give the whole of them pure trouble. Me Man
Man, are
of
wicked.
wicked, yeah, man of wicked done that. Man, I go show them sample. Some step from karma, from
Grandma.
Rima. Thank you, Dave. Some step from Rima, and then we go a jungle, right?
Hmm.
So this says the above excerpt from Juna Dima's song has all the elements of
Of
badmanism,
course.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
You can go to the next one because this is just a overview. So the next one, this is warn them. This is by Mavado,
By
and
Movado. So this is all the big names, and that's why we need parents, grandparents, everybody who's listening, understand what is happening and the kinds of people that are writing these songs. You even look at the rap, the rap stars, the hip hop stars, all of them. A lot of them mixed up in all kinds of different things. So we have to think about what we're doing. Listen, when they squeeze, it left Addy head at ease. In flat like banana leaf. Now, Addy actually is making reference to Vibes Cartel, right there, right?
yeah,
When
yeah,
they squeeze the gun, it left Addy head at ease. In flat like banana leaf. Mama ball, please, to hold me evil. She can't believe. See me crime and can't believe. In a middle day, him gang up with the fish, forget pay. Never know send me a AK stay. Adi head bust like Bombay. He's talking about Vibes Cartel because this is the rivalry that they had between them. Kill
Correct.
that in a church when the pastor pray. Murder your little bread upon the funeral day. Cut the newborn throat because you know, no, me no, you know, so you, because you know, me no,
You know
your
me.
body float like boat when the sea take away whatever, I don't know what that is. Talk straight, make the war set away. Addy, plus there's no getaway. Me I got something, killer and you know me no stray. What?
So
What?
you see, we think that I mean, what really gets a lot of people and fool a lot of people is that the musicianship is sweet in that the lyrics, sorry, the rhythm and you know I mean we are all Afro Caribbean people, and once we hear a really nice rhythm, we go on down and we like, but seldom do a lot of the adults even, and first of all, a lot of the adults don't even understand what is the lyricism part. They're just dancing, and and they don't care, and they're just going down the road.
But listen here, look at what the commentator is saying. From the killing of a newborn baby to brazen in church murders to committing a murder at a funeral, all of which has coincidentally happened in Jamaica in recent times. But it was sung about in a song before.
Yeah,
Mavadas warned them, feels like a lyrical response to any industry beef. So can you imagine that this is what our what is being where we'll probably see people go to the hospital here and try to kill people at the hospital. The QH.
yeah, and it could even be at the same funerals too, because I mean, as we know, we know what we saw at a funeral a couple years ago, and that was not and even as odd as it may seem, it is what as the Benjamin would say, it is what it is, and so, and I'm not referring to the appearance of a gun, okay? So I'm not being too vague. So let's go to the next one. But essentially, what you are seeing here, as I'm agreeing with you, is what is written in these songs finds itself happening in the society. Is almost like it's like prophetic pronouncements that happen within the jurisdictions. Go on. 7 is Psycho, Tommy Lee Sparta.
And by the way, Tommy Lee calls himself Uncle Demon. Okay, just so that you know. So the children are calling him Uncle, but it's Uncle Demon.
You mean it? You mean it?
This is
So you mean it?
what
How you have? So you mean it? How you have auntie or uncle? As you mean?
yes, like you have Auntie
Oh, okay.
Olga, or you have somebody you look up to.
Right, right.
So here now he's called by the children Uncle Demon. Okay. And this is what Tommy Lee Spartan say, aka Uncle Demon. Bus boy head at them gate daily. Bus boy head at them gate daily in front of pastor school picnic. Try don't make your luck, but run out when the demons come out for you. Soul what the devil sent for you. I can't say that. Is that RAFE?
Yeah, same for you. In other words, like, same for you then. The whole Benjamin was the same for you.
Yeah,
Like
no,
same
it's
for
the
you.
next word I'm looking at. I can't see it
Oh,
properly. Thanks, Dave, for
is
making it bigger. Go up.
oh,
I don't know. I don't know what RAFE means. And the worst thing you will see, boy, them set up upon me. Bus shot in a head arrogantly. Fool. You believe that? That an adult person could sit down and write that?
what makes it worse is that this is almost, as I'm saying, almost 20 going 30 years that this kind of lyricism is like nothing, is like normal on almost all blocks in Barbados, for sure. And it is a staple on minivans and on ZR vans. So children have their early breakfast. They don't some children don't even get breakfast when the mornings come. That is their breakfast. The breakfast is what they're listening to and rushing and freeting to get on the van to listen to this music. So this becomes their devotion, their morning devotion, right? So this is their morning devotion. And then after school, if they pay attention, then the after school lunch would be what they hear going home again too. You can go on to the next one. Just to keep this movement. So this is number 6. This is gunman, but you're just using the V as a a coy, but it's
And this
gunman.
is King. This King is one of the younger ones that he's being hailed by Nicki Minaj, and he's it's really it's all over the place, singing on very big stages, and so he is definitely the Gen Zs are into King,
But
right?
can you see what they're saying to that? They're calling it the intellectual what kind of edition?
Intellectual murder people edition.
You see what kind of edition it is? Okay, you can
Murder
proceed with it.
people edition. And this
Yeah,
is what a lot of our young people are listening to because he's young.
right.
They
So he
say,
can relate. Come down right there. No, come back up.
no wonder there's so much
Right there.
murder in the Caribbean. Listen up, war them war, tell them war them war, tell them get the tanker. Every guns up, every killer mask up. Travel upon the ends, both doesn't clot up. Doesn't man have it dead, or where you feel me left some. No, no, sir. You must be mad. Me kill them. Me killer them. No work so. Banga them a drop food through Wells Fargo. And I buy bay. Oh,
And I bet
and I
that.
buy bear gun for anything. And I buy bear gun for anything startup.
Hmm.
Fully dark, fully charged, and fully crab up. So there's this thing about being fully whatever, fully
Yeah.
done, fully whatever. So there, he's fully dark, he's fully charged, and he's fully crab up. He's very angry.
Correct.
Yeah.
What I want to interject one thing here, right? No offense, because I like my Bajan dialect, and everybody like I'm sure you're from Jamaica, so everybody likes their own colloquial language and whatever it be. But what I find that a lot of the youth have been led astray with as it relates to gravitating to what I mean as linguists, as I know the understanding, you don't call a dialect really, because it's a language of itself. But what I'm trying to say is that the youth can't really grab a hold of this and feel that is there's an intellectualism about it. And when they're asked to speak like what is considered standard English, they can't speak standard English. And that so there's a how when and where that has to happen. But when they're so immersed in this, is it the alphabet? How did we learn the alphabet? By singing it, right? So when you have started to learn this and sing it and over and over with repetition, this kind of language and discourse, when you ask them when they win a race at the stadium, yeah, that kind of yeah, man, and that kind of broken language kind of thing, and it's almost as if they really can't speak to you like with any of like when you come in with any like conviction, you can go to the
Yeah.
other one, but
But before you go to the next one, I'm seeing something here that the commentator is saying that this song checks all the boxes, mass murder, where it says
mhm.
dozen man after dead, and where you feel, meaning dozen over
Lot,
12.
lot
So
of them at one
they're
time.
not leaving any. Every guns up, killer mask up, travel upon them ends. You're traveling, you're driving, or they're on a bike, or on a car, to go and kill people. This is pushing mass murder.
But can you see that this kind of modus operandi, is traveling not only in Trinidad, Jamaica, but it is starting to be a norm in Barbados because you can start to see a lot of drive-bys and that kind of. So you realize that meaning the socialization from the psychological reform through the music and through the I would call it the incantations and the meditation of these lyricism in youth is like nothing. So they start to say, well, you know what? Oh, this is cool, man. We're doing this other thing is cool, man. My 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 artist that got a big car doing it, so and he just sing about it, so it gotta be cool. So if they could do it in their song and sing about it, it gotta be cool too. So he could, So this is it.
Yeah. Well, we have time for one more tonight. but because I want us to not rush it, because we need to take the time, because the reason we're doing this, we need people to begin to examine who are the people that we're bringing into Barbados at this time. Are we really serious about crime reduction? And are we serious about watching all of these young people killing themselves and police killing them and all these kind of things? And then who are we inviting into our country? Go ahead. Go to the next one, and then we're going to close this
But
segment. Go ahead.
well, number 5 will be talk to them about the killer. And you see this one, he's talking about gun a stick. So in other words, it come down again. He's talking about gun a stick. Any stick or shot a stick in a boy. In other words, any sticking of the gun, it's gonna be a shot in the person, right? Because I mean, you gotta understand what the dialect is saying in a Bajan way. In other words, then to put it in Bajan parlance, they ain't giving a sticking. Any sticking, the shot gonna be you or in the person. You can go on to the really lyricism.
Yeah. It says a little further down.
Mhm.
When you box, when a box and kick, a shot, a kick in a your boy. Real macaw, pop off ice pick in a boy. My God.
Wow, wow. So this is beyond graphic, and the more that I am listening, the more that I'm doing, because I am learning too. Even though I did the research, I think the more that I'm doing it now, I myself am actually I'm taken back because I can't really imagine that sometimes like 7 and 8 year olds can recite this. Can you imagine a 7 and 5 year old reciting this lyricism to a T, even before they can even learn the tables? And then it puts you to understand now why the level of violence will be so normative now and progressively so in the primary schools. So when you start to see this normative violence happening in the primary schools and at home, in the streets, on the van, and almost everywhere they go, they're bombarded, because not serenaded. I call it bombarded because a child at 5 and 7 is still, in my opinion, innocent. So a child at 5 and 7 and going online and whatever the case is still bombarded with this heavy toxic lyricism. You can't expect anything. You can't really hold that child to account. Really, if a child is being so bombarded with such hyper violence, and then what else do you expect the child to do as it relates to any schools or wherever else they go?
Yeah, this is. I mean, I am still stunned. I've never done this before. Sat down and just read the lyrics of these songs, and I think doing it, it's really an eye opener. And when you look at the lives of the people, they're known to the law. A lot of these singers, where they
Indeed.
go, they shoot up. People shooting up. Skeng was in Guyana, and just the other day, right after the pandemic, he was in Guyana, and the young people in Guyana just started the shots going off in the middle of the concert because they're celebrating. Because
Yeah.
that's what he sings. He sings about guns, and here we are in Barbados, where we now have about 40 or 41 young men killed by the gun, and we are ready to pay hundreds of dollars to go to see Vibes Cartel. He's going to be paid over 750,000 Barbados dollars. That he's going to be paid. Three-quarter million of dollars, $750,000. He's going to be paid to perform in Barbados. And look at what is happening in our society at this moment. And Mr. Millington, I want to thank you for again, and we're going to ask you to come back and another night, and we keep going away at this little at a time, a little bit at a time. Let me just open up the panel and the lines as well. Mr. Murray, is there anything you want to you've been listening? Mr. Murray is 18, and I tell you he's up at this hour, and I tell you he's alert. He's an alert 18-year-old. Go ahead, Mr. Murray.
Yeah, I was learning a lot from the detailed in the lyrics that I've been hearing because personally I've never paid much attention to that kind of music. It's not my kind of music, so I've never been that engrossed into for it. But some really, it really reminds me of some of the lyrics I've heard from the rap world of North America,
Yes.
and it seems to me that some of that is imitative of the rap America. Not only that, like for example, the favorite drink was or still is of the rap world was brandy, Hennessy, and it's not by accident. I think that the Hennessy is also the drink of choice at one time. Probably it's probably out of date now, but that was the standard and the symbol by which we recognize also in this world. But the point is that music is music is a mind altering process, just
Mhm.
like alcohol or drugs. They change your mind, they change your mood, and you can be indoctrinated, programmed, how you want to call it, informed, educated at the same time. So this is all part of a culture deliberately to determine the perpetuation of that culture. These are not done by acts because they know there's a market for it, and they have to carry that market and reinforce it time and time again. But I agree that it's something that we have to pay attention to, and that we should let our feelings, as I said earlier, let our feelings be known about what will be the conditions under which Vice Carter were to allowed to be performing in Barbados. He should submit the organizer submit a list of his songs. They should be examined and it should be monitored on the spot. Any violation, they pull the plug on the show.
Yeah.
But this discipline has to be begun, has to be imposed somewhere along the line.
Yes, I agree. I do understand that people are they are listening to, as somebody saying, Skeng and all these others. They're listening to them online. I am aware of that. What I'm saying is that why are we rewarding this? Why are they coming here and making three-quarter million dollars? Why is that happening? Why are we glorifying it? Is what we are saying. And
It, it,
I'm sure Cartel, when he comes, he's not going to just saying it's new material, and its new material is actually very dirty as far as I'm concerned. We can read
if I
that.
may,
Yeah.
if I may add one thing quickly, my only problem is that if that were to be done with Vice Cartel, how do we control, given the means by which this kind of music is communicated on phones, various, how do we have that? How do we control that? I think the only reason how you can control that, not technology, it has to be done with the socialization or values or education to try to begin to reverse that process. But you can't ban it as such because the opportunities for perpetuation and transmission are too many. So it has to be a long term process and project as to how we would contract this and other negative influences in society.
Yes. Miss McLean, any quick word wise? 7 minutes to yes.
No, I really want to thank Abraham for bringing this. I mean, when you look at the lyrics of those songs, they're not suggested by they are very clear cut as to what the message is and what they're saying. I mean, it's
Yep.
almost as though you're giving instructions
Yep.
to the persons who are hearing the music, to the children, the young people, because that's the majority of people. And, you almost numb the children to some of the other things that, well, first numb them to this whole notion of violence, and they kind of glorifying it. And that is dangerous. I really think that, and music, as Glenn was suggesting, and I think Abraham would have suggested this in his presentations, the impact it has on your mind. You're getting into the minds of people. And for example, that's why recently, and this is mild, but people might say this is ours, but when I saw that you were welcoming new students with a tuck band to go and sit down to study, I thought, if I hear music, I'm dancing. I mean, even in church, when you hear certain music, people, one kind of hymn
It
versus
lifts the
another
spirit.
has a very different impact. So,
Right.
so I hope that the authorities, beyond parents, those authorities who actually make decisions, some of them not necessarily remembering their childhood and don't necessarily have to deal with children and the challenges that parents have are listening to this, because it is very serious. And I really want to thank you for the research that you've done and the highlighting of this. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback because adults are now understanding what the conditioning is about, because it's conditioning
Yeah.
the minds of
Yeah.
children.
Yeah,
You're
it
very right.
is.
Sorry.
Go ahead, go ahead,
Miss McLean, you are absolutely right. I think what's happened for a long time, especially in Barbados and the Caribbean, is that the adults have literally, is almost like if you carry your child to a nanny or something like that, adults have left their children in the hands of indoctrinators as it relates to violence. And the adults did not do the due diligence in taking the time to dissect and decode what the children were listening to. And they say, oh, like how in years gone by, we would call, or the older folks would call certain types of music banjo. They don't really go in for, because as far as I'm concerned, I like all types of music. And when I say all types of music, the music of itself is not wicked or bad. It is when you start to add what's the lyricism to it, that makes it, that gives it the definition of what you are channeling it to, right? So you essentially, you're Miss McLean, you're spot on, and the adults can't just put the children and say, like how they put the children on Nintendo and say, oh, go along, sit down and just
right.
eat it, this, right.
Yeah. Well, it's 9:56, and what I want to say to us here on the panel and those of us who are listening, we are, I believe, in my estimation, Miss McLean and others, we are in a crisis here in Barbados as it relates to this violence, crime and violence. I looked on a video there on, I think it happened on Saturday night or late Friday night, of a police, apprehending a young man. And at first, to be honest with you, I didn't even want to watch it, guys. I grew up with so much violence, and I came to Barbados, and thinking, you're getting away from it. Can I be honest?
Yeah.
And when you see that that is what we're living here, and my concern, Dave will tell you, I will always say to him, Abraham, the difference is that that can be happening in Tivoli, and I am like 2 hours away from Tivoli. I'm 3 hours away from Tivoli. I'm not connected to that. That's in
Mhm.
Rima, or that is in Spanish Town, and somebody lives in Montego Bay, or whatever the case is. That's
Correct.
just like, probably 30 minutes the most from where I am, or 25 minutes. And I said to myself, wow, is this Barbados? Is
Hmm.
this Barbados? And I saw the behavior, saw the response of the people in the neighborhood. Because in their minds, they were saying, and some of them even called me, that they believed that there was some form of police brutality involved. And then you heard a report coming from the police, from the spokesperson for the police services. And I just want to say to us as a community that it is so important, for the police to be able to do their work, because when none of us want that at our doorsteps. No well-meaning Barbadian want, all kinds of gun violence. We saw they shot the little girl sitting down at our doorstep. We don't want that there, and we are depending on the police in order to protect us. So we need the strong policing, and I must commend the police. They're trying. We saw with Christchurch, where the people are saying, the citizens are saying they thank the police because, Mr. Murray, they're not seeing as much, gun violence in the last 2 3 weeks. So the people in Christchurch, they're thanking the police. So, my thing is this: I want to say to the police as well that because we believe in you so much and we trust you and we need you, it is so important important that everything be done in how do I with a sense of accountability, transparency, and that there is balance. So and that we're following the law, right? The law, that you follow the law, the citizens follow the law, in order for us to solve this situation that we're dealing with. So important, because we trust the police. We don't want to distrust the police. I remember in Jamaica when the people started to distrust the police couldn't even come into the community, Miss McLean, to protect the citizens, because the people distrusted them, did not trust them. And so we want the police, we want you to be strong in your law enforcement, but at the same time, we want to make sure you're following the law, right? And I'm not trying to say whether you broke the law, because I can't tell by the video. I wasn't there. I'm asking citizens. So if you were there and you saw what happened, call me. 236-7000. Did you see what happened? Because people who are calling me were not there. They're going from the video. If you weren't there, call me. 236-7000. I believe in strong policing. I'm not going to fool you. I believe in strong policing. But I want us, I'm just charging the police, make sure you're following the law, because we are depending on you, police service, to follow the law, because we have to support you. What else can we do? We need you. So we need you to make sure. I'm just sending that out on both sides. We follow the law. And to our young people, you look at that, that according to them, they said the boy shot at them. Well, he's 6 feet under today. He's 6 feet under. I was told that that is the same young man that was on someone is saying,
Yes.
alleging that that young man was on Facebook a couple hours before brandishing a long gun.
See that?
Is that true?
Marcia,
Mhm. Go ahead.
if I
Go
might
ahead.
interject here, I just want to remind you as to I myself have in the past expressed concern with the hostility and the aggressiveness of the citizens or the residents of the area when the police go to do their operation. But don't forget, these same persons have been conditioned over by the same music. The police is the enemy,
Mm-hmm.
Babylon,
True.
baldhead,
Mm-hmm.
beast. So they are conditioned to see the police to be hostile towards the police, not to defend them. They are hostile to their environment and coming to disrupt their life and take away one of their heroes or whatever. So that is all part again of the condition of the mind and the conditions under which the police have to intervene. And again, I believe for a long time I've been longing to see a pushback, because that segment of society only quote unquote respects violence, and you have to push them back at least as hard as they push out without any apologies at all.
Okay.
Just
But
fair and footing.
the same people will be calling on the police to come to their defense when things happen, and then they complain. So it's a very unfortunate thing, and I agree with Glenn that, and this is again, if you go and start to do some research on lyrics about perceptions of the police and so on. I mean, I'm not saying that the police are perfect, but I guess also sometimes, given the situation of shortage in terms of the numbers, our police force is under the police service is under severe stress. There are many persons short, and we're having such horrendous kinds of situations that the pressure themselves may make them make some decisions that may be tough or may not be the most appropriate, but at the same time you are dealing with a criminal element that is probably armed in many instances with superior weapons and that kind of thing. And so the police, I mean, it is not an easy situation. And I think the communities we have to look inward, beyond government, for solutions to this problem. That's what I would say.
Yes, yes, Miss McLean. And Tironi, I do agree with you that if and I've seen that in Jamaica, Mr. Millington, that when the police gets violent, the people will get more violent. So I
I just
think just a minute, let me just say something here, that somebody who's lived through that, I want to say that it is it's on both sides. I think that as I said, the way I'm going to put it is this: we want to keep trusting the police because we need to. We need to. I mean we have some great police in Barbados, and as I said, the people in Christchurch, they've just praised the police because they saw a reduction in crime in Christchurch, and they said it was because of good policing. So we have good standards that are there. I'm just asking the police force, please, please keep the good standards that you have. Keep that, and the society will support you. Make sure that that is what you're doing. Yes, go ahead, Millington, Mr.
Okay.
Millington.
Right. Once I commend you are praising the police, you also have like what you're saying is, I think of the George Floyd situation and what the public must, not only in Barbados, because I realized that when George Floyd situation was up, Barbadians were loud on Facebook and everybody was George Floyd, George Floyd. But what I think we have to understand is that Barbados cannot get to a stage where whether the army or police can do what they feel that they can do and not be held accountable. So there must be a balance as it relates to, because justice is all about balance. I mean, because I'm an October person. I just joking, but balance must be maintained. You know, you can't have it where, yes, we trust the police, we trust the army, we trust our leaders of security services, but we don't want a situation where like evidence or anything that would incriminate the police officer be taken away, or this is alleged, this is not factual. So because we are in a technology age, and when you see that sometimes that is the only straw that a citizen might have as their defense, in cases like that. So once I commend the police effort, I also must state, sorry, that living in the technology age, George Floyd's situation has allowed us to know that the balance in technology must be maintained to allow that balance to correlate with what is called justice.
Yes, excellent way to end tonight. Boy, we had a packed one this evening, a really packed one. Let me thank everybody who contributed this evening. I was going to say Dr. Murray, Mr. Glyne Murray, 18-year-old Glyne Murray. Thank you so much. And he's bright and alert at this hour of the night. Thank you so much. And he's wearing his independence colors. And I want to thank our two guests from Martinique that, we saw what was happening, the old and the young, and the disparity in the thinking, and what we see flowing out on the streets. We see really all the conflict that's happening was happening right on the show. And we thank them so much for coming on and educating us, and of course, Mr. John Knox, our waterman, for coming on and giving us great solutions. Miss Maxine McLean, giving commentary the entire night, and I know she has some more research she's going to do for you. I tell you, she will, on that whole town civic center, the moving of that, or the proposed moving of that. So I want to thank everybody, and of course, Mr. Millington, to everybody who's joined us tonight. Thank you so much, and I really enjoyed tonight. God bless you all. Well, we have to have our.
I'm not interested in prosecuting nobody. I tell you this already. I want money.
Wait, say what?
Money.
Whoa!
Money.
Yo!
I want money.
Wait, she really said that for true?
Money. I'm not interested in prosecuting nobody. I want money.
Whoa!
Money.
Whoa!
Money. Money.
Yo!
Money.
You hear that?
Money.
She want money, yeah?
I want money. I want money.
You hear that? She want money, yeah?
I'm not interested in prosecuting nobody. I tell you this already. I want money. I want money.
Boy, she only care about the money. Bye, girl. Bye.
Listen, that's part of what's the problem as well. Wrong and bad examples. All right, good night to everybody. And we see you tomorrow night. God bless you all. Bye-bye.